cuts and boost his border funding priorities while reforming Medicaid and food assistance programs. Chairman Jody Arrington of Texas summarized.
Well, tonight the House Budget Committee took a critical step to passing the One Big Beautiful Bill Act and making President Trump's America First vision a reality for the American people.
Ranking member Brendan Boyle of Pennsylvania shared his objections to the vote.
CBO saying 13,700,000 Americans at least will lose their health care because of this bill for billionaires that was passed.
Bernie Bennett in Washington.
Joe Biden's office says the former president has been diagnosed with prostate cancer.
The diagnosis came late last week when the former president was seen by doctors after urinary symptoms and a prostate nodule was found. Biden's office described the cancer as aggressive and said it had spread to the bone. But the statement also said the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management.
White House correspondent Greg Clugston says Mr. Biden and his family are now reviewing treatment options with his doctors. Israel is ordering evacuation of Gaza's second largest city as its offensive escalates. Israel is also resuming what Prime Minister Netanyahu describes as minimal aid to Gaza. The Prime Minister says Israel's allies voiced concern about images of hunger, saying, quote, "With that, we will not be able to support you." Russian authorities have outlawed Amnesty International as an undesirable organization. A 2015 law makes involvement with such organizations a criminal offense. On Wall Street, the Dow futures down 259 points. NASDAQ futures off 327. More on these stories at townhall.com.
If you're living with pain, see how Relief Factor can help.
My back got injured very bad. I was off work for about a year. I heard about Relief Factor from my wife. I took it every day, 3 times a day for 3 weeks. I looked at her and I said, "The pain is gone." And she said, "I'm glad it helped." I said, "No, you don't understand. It's gone."
Fight pain naturally with Relief Factor. Go to ReliefFactor.com and get your 3-week quick start today. Only $19.95.
Why'd I go to the doctor? One day at the firehouse, I was so lightheaded I could barely stand. Even my crew noticed. Getting checked out was the right call. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit NoTimeToWait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
The Food and Drug Administration approves a blood test to detect conditions in the brain linked to Alzheimer's disease.
The test, called Lumipulse, measures 2 proteins found in the blood's plasma to find if a patient has plaque in the brain. Tests up until now have been more invasive, using brain scans and a spinal tap to confirm the presence of plaques. An FDA spokesperson said the clearance is an important step for Alzheimer's disease diagnosis, making it easier and more accessible for patients in earlier stages. Tasha Stevens reporting.
Britain and the European Union have hailed a new chapter in their relationship after they sealed new agreements on defense cooperation and easing trade flows. Prime Minister Starmer says the deals will cut red tape, grow the British economy, and reset relations with the 27-nation trade bloc since the UK left the European Union back in 2020. News and analysis at townhall.com. Now, about that ship that slammed into an iconic New York City bridge over the weekend.
A Mexican Navy sailing ship on a goodwill tour hit the Brooklyn Bridge, killing 2 sailors Saturday night and injuring scores more who were left dangling by harness from the ship's 3 masts, which toppled over on impact. NYPD Special Ops Chief Wilson Arambola says the ship had just left a Manhattan pier and was supposed to have been headed out to sea, not toward the bridge.
The captain that was maneuvering the ship lost power of the ship, and the current mechanical function caused the ship to go right into the pillar of the bridge, hitting the mast of the ship.
Officials say the 142-year-old bridge was spared major damage. Julie Walker, New York.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat.
Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travelation, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning, one and all. Welcome to Mornings with Mike Winters. I am he. That would be me, Mike Winters. Happy Monday.
Oh, yes.
Happy Monday, everybody.
One more week for you school kids.
Kids are excited as it's their final week. Graduations this weekend. It's a big week. Busy week.
Be honest, though. I mean, this is... Now, I know for, like, middle and high schoolers, this is kind of like the grind. Like, they made some of the seniors wait until the very last minute on Friday to see if they graduated white. So I know this is kind of crunch time for them, and they're getting numbers together and stuff. Elementary and middle school teachers at this point, y'all are done, right? I mean, you guys are checked out, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of activities,
parties, pizza involved, movies.
That being said, from the teacher perspective, those aren't always the most relaxing times for the
Sure, because kids are also pretty antsy right now too.
You know what, the teachers like structure, quiet.
Yeah.
When they're studying, not wrangling them at movie theaters and wrangling them at
not
various
even that, but like
establishments.
Well, and I've made the joke before that, you know, because the school systems that you and I went to had a finite, you know, amount of resources.
Yeah.
When you heard the squeak, squeak, squeak of the TV cart coming down the hallway, it was extra special.
Right.
Nowadays, every classroom's got a gigantic projector big screen in the classroom. So you could watch whatever. It's on like Disney Plus or something.
But for us, at least for me, the difference was the squeaky TV was the high water mark. That was it. That was the best we got. We ain't getting trips to the movies and all this stuff.
Well,
the best we could ever get was the squeak squeak of the TV rolling in because they're going to show us a movie that's absolutely has nothing to do with curriculum.
Sure. And I mean, even the field trips that we went on weren't, you know, that exciting. It was to a museum or something. The most exciting field trip I ever went on was when I was living in Oklahoma. We went to this, and it was like an hour's drive. We went to this, it was like kind of like Explorer is in Albuquerque. It was a children's interactive museum. But this one specifically was each module was a different career a child could do. Like they had a whole grocery store where you could be like the retail, like the clerk, or you could be a newscaster or a weatherman, you know, all these different jobs. And that was like the best field trip of my entire life.
Well, see, that's where I was lucky growing up where I grew up.
Yeah, because you were around a lot of history.
Yeah, we didn't take field trips to the movies and stuff like that. We would have like usually one field trip a year that, you know, generally speaking, at the class in elementary school. It lessened as we got higher up. But in elementary school. And yes, I remember one trip was to D.C. We went and saw the museums in D.C. One was, and then, again, this is pretty cool because this is not stuff you get around here, is I got to go to like a plantation that was circa the, you know, Civil War era, and I learned a lot about the slave quarters. I saw like an actual slave quarters. I saw that history. I literally saw.
They put us out in the field, had us pick cotton.
but they taught us. You know, they showed us the shackles, you know, with the slaves, how they lived, what the life was like. I really got to experience as a kid seeing. You know, now it's not a working. You know, but it's a historical. I don't for life I can't remember. It was just 40 years ago.
Right.
But I remember that sticking out. The other big field trip I remember taking, this was like 5th or 6th, maybe 5th grade. I don't think it was 6th grade yet because that would have been middle school. But that was the overnight trip to Hard Bargain Farm. And that was where we'd stay at like we'd stay on the little farm there. But like part of the deal was like you go out to the patch to pick your pumpkins and do all that stuff. So it was in the fall, and we really stayed overnight in these little cabins and then we got to learn about agriculture and stuff. But ultimately, it was like around Halloween, and so we'd go and pick pumpkins and then take pumpkins back.
I just love the name.
I didn't name it. That was called Hard
I know.
Bargain
That's
Farm.
fantastic. Yeah. Okay, it makes me laugh. Certain word combinations always make me chuckle. There's a place in Denver, Colorado that we passed a couple of times when we were up for the AJR concert called Laramere Square.
That's fun to say.
And it's a blast to say.
Yeah.
In fact, every now and again, just to make my friends chuckle, I'll just out of nowhere go, Laramere Square. But that's another one. Hard Bargain Farms.
Yeah.
That's just fun to say.
Hard Bargain Farm. That's why I remember it to this day. Hard Bargain Farm.
That sounds like something that the Swedish chef could easily pronounce. Hard Bargain Farms.
I hope I need to look that up. I hope they're still in existence. I don't know.
We're going to find out right now.
I don't know if they got sold off or, it was this again. I was a kid. This is probably 40 years ago.
If they did, and if the name's available, I'm going to buy land.
Or if someone didn't procure it, now it's Hard Bargain Farms in Georgia or someplace. I don't know.
Hard Bargain Farm Environmental Campus. This is in Assateague, Maryland.
Assateague, Maryland. That's exactly where we went.
Yep.
That's the place. Assateague. Yeah.
Keek is what it says. Well, it's I'm sure it's
Let me see it. I'll tell you.
Well, it's ACCOKEEK. I'm not going to hand my cell phone to another man. Are you kidding me? Oh, now that it's open, let's get into his private.
I wasn't going to look at it.
Well, it's KEEK, but I'm sure it's pronounced teak, just like,
It's native.
Yeah.
A lot of native
Oh, trust me, I'm from Oklahoma.
All up around the East Coast.
I get from that.
All basically Algonquin tribes and derivatives of that. So, yeah.
When I've heard people tell me that I've been saying, so there's a fort in Oklahoma that for my whole life I've always called Fort Washita.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard so many people say, you're saying it wrong. It's Fort Wichita. I'm like, no, it's Fort Washita.
Yeah. I think
that's how everybody in that region says it.
It's how people, I've dealt with that. And, it's, for instance, the one big one was a place in Virginia called Staunton.
Staunton?
Correct. They called it Stanton. And if you called it Staunton, that was like the code. You ain't from around here, are you?
You ain't from around here, is you, boy? What'd you call us?
Right. Yeah, we had that. Hey, got some congratulations.
Yes, sir.
Order. Big congratulations to the NMMI Colt baseball team. They are the 3A state champions. They beat Robertson 7-1 on Saturday. Also, congratulations to the Artesia Bulldog baseball team. They are state champs at 4A baseball. They defeated Bloomfield 6-3 in the championship game on Saturday. Congratulations to the Gateway Christian Warriors. They did manage to get to the championship game, but fell short to Magdalena 7-3 on Friday. Also, big congratulations out to the Dexter Demons softball team. They got to the championships as well, but fell there last week as well. So, but we had some great representation in the baseball softball playoffs, and a few blue trophies and red trophies out of it. So, pretty good stuff. So, congratulations to all the teams here in the area on the hardware they're bringing back to Southeast New Mexico.
Just the effort to be there in the first place. I mean, it was a heck of a season.
Oh yeah, and a big thank you to Henry and Joby and also Kelly for being up there in Albuquerque calling those games and getting there. I mean, it was especially like Thursday and Friday. Those guys were Henry. I don't know, like pull back the curtain. Hope Henry doesn't mind me saying this. Henry was literally like glued to the broadcasting all day Thursday, and during like the second game, I think in the middle, he texted me like, "Dude, I got to go to the bathroom." I'm like, all right, let me take a long break for you. I was like, right. So if you noticed during one of the games on Thursday, we went like 3 minutes between innings. That's because we had
evacuation issue.
Make sure that the needs are met for this. But yeah, I mean they're literally glued to those things, and they have to bolt from one field to the other because there's zero time between games to bring it to you. So big thank you to all three of those guys for hoofing it and running around doing all. And of course, also to Jeff Gunn was helping out with the NIMI broadcast. Big thank you to Jeff for that. So without those guys, none of this would have happened.
Right.
People are like, "Oh, thanks for bringing." No, those guys did all the work, and I just sat here pushing buttons and getting those guys. People were like, "You had long it now." I was just sitting here pushing buttons. Those guys were running around like chickens with their head cut off.
It was
big thing.
It was crazy. I'm telling you, this is why moving forward, we need to get lav mics.
Yeah.
Because
you want a Naked Gun scene from
exactly. I feel like this is a setup for a perfect. We're going to cut to an extended break, and then just right in the middle of Roswell Livestock and Farms.
Whoops.
Moon River.
Oh man. Well, yeah, they were amazing here. And of course, don't forget it is graduation this weekend.
Yes.
We'll carry all the graduations for Roswell and Goddard and Artesia High on our KSVP TV channels as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll find them all there this week.
University High.
Yeah, all of them.
The
collective.
Early college graduations. I believe we'll have that as well.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's all those.
All the coverages. Oh, that reminds me. I have to figure out when Hunter's graduation is this week. Yeah. Already got a kid graduating.
Nice.
Moving on to bigger and better things. First grade.
Going to the military.
Yeah. Yeah, he's decided he's going to go Space Force.
Recruiters already knocking on the door. All right, let me give you the rundown for today's show. Last week, Rosie Ortiz joined us from the Roswell Public Library talking summer reading program, which gets underway here next week. So we'll play that conversation here for you. Don Weld with Friends. What did I write that for? Friends of Bitter Lake. I don't know why I wrote what I wrote on here. That is not correct. He's coming in with Friends of Bitter Lake Refuge, Wildlife Refuge to join us here. I wrote Roswell Refuge. I don't know why. It's Monday. I feel like I just was here. But anyway. And then in the 9 o'clock hour, about 9:15, we're going to replay our interview we had on Friday with Chaves County Manager Bill Williams discussing our last commission meeting and all that good stuff. Had some good information there. So we'll play that for you in the 9 o'clock hour.
Yes, sir.
And, of course, we'll have all the newses of your local and national variety, Wall Street business updates, sports, and whatever else we can come up with for today's show. Something else I was going to say, and I completely don't remember. All right. Well, anyway, on that point, it is 7:17. It's a little cooler today, like 80s, but the wind's going to be blowing. Yeah. So that's what you're dealing with this week.
Nice things.
Yeah. Here's your weather.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty windy today. We have a front moving through the area. Could get a few gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Watch out for some blowing dust. We'll have sunshine, afternoon highs in the low to mid 80s. For the overnight hours, still windy. It'll be clear, though, and our low in the low 50s. The wind will calm down on Tuesday. It will be sunny. Our afternoon high in the mid 80s. Sunny and warmer Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 62 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 32%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 5 miles per hour. They've hit us with all the wind advisories and red flag warnings. Wind advisory kicks in at noon through, is that today? Yeah, that's for today. I'm sorry. Kicks in at noon through 7 p.m. this evening. We got red flag warning kicking in at 11 through 9 p.m. this evening. Expect patchy blowing dust this afternoon. Sunny and 84, but the winds will be out of the west 5 to 15 early, increasing 15 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour later today. Tonight, mostly clear with an overnight low of 52. Winds remain blowing out of the northwest 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour. Expect those winds to drop down 10 to 15 after midnight. For you Tuesday, sunny and 87, north winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Wednesday, sunny and 92, northwest winds at around 5 miles per hour. Sunny and Thursday with highs around 95 degrees. Friday, sunny and 99. We're going to tickle the century mark on Friday. And then 97 and sunny on Saturday, sunny and 95 on Sunday. So maybe light accoutrement under the caps and gowns this weekend. No talk of rain, but it sounds like it's going to be warm. So when you're out in the stands rooting on and for your grads and all that, drink lots of water because it sounds like it's going to be a warm one this weekend for graduations. All right, 7:19. We're going to take a 4-minute break. That includes your Roswell Livestock Report with Smiley Wooten. And then on the other side, we're going to play our interview we had with Rosie Ortiz from the Roswell Public Library talking about summer reading. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Good morning, this is Smiley Wooten at the Roswell Livestock Auction. A good May run this week with a nice selection of all classes of cattle, especially high-quality native calves, big yearlings, pairs. We expect to sell 1,400 head, breaking down like this: 125, 150 weight cows and bulls, 125, 150 pairs of bred cows, 1,150 calves and yearlings today's sale. Will include 35 cow-calf pairs from the Grant Kinzer Trust, White Rock, New Mexico, excellent quality black Angus cows with good Angus calves at side, thin condition, 6 to 10 years old. Also 26 bred cows off the same ranch, 6 to 10 years old. 16 pairs, Javier Rojas, Carlsbad, New Mexico, excellent quality black Brangus cows with black calves at side, pairs 3 to 10 years old. 300 yearling heifers, Kenneth Smith, Inc., Carlsbad, excellent quality 80% black white face Angus and Brangus crosses, 20% red and Charolais crosses. These cattle weaned last fall. 2 rounds of shots right off some short wheat, sorted into big bunches, 700, 900 pounds. 71 yearling heifers of Brown Brothers Ranch here west of Roswell. Reputation quality Brangus heifers. Cattle weaned last fall. 3 rounds of shots, PI negative, 600, 800 pounds. 34 calves of Guadalupe Mountain Farms, Sierra Blanca, Texas. Excellent quality black white face Angus crosses. 1 round of shots, thin condition, 400, 550 pounds. 93 calves and yearlings, Wes and Carla Bruton, San Antonio, New Mexico. Good quality Charolais crossbred yearlings, 1 round of shots, thin to medium condition, 500, 900 pounds. 36 steer calves, Mr. James Ellett, Hope, New Mexico. Good quality black Angus and Brangus crosses. They're all steers. Cattle are weaned. 1 round of Bow Shield Gold 7-weight, thin condition, for 5,600 pounds. 34 calves off the Kinzer Trust. Excellent quality black Angus calves, 300, 500 pounds. 40 calves, Chillicothe Ranch, Valentine, Texas. Excellent quality black white face Angus crossbred calves. 1 round of shots, thin condition, 350, 450 pounds. And 18 calves, Flying H Ranch here southwest of Roswell. Excellent quality black Angus calves, weaned 30 days, 2 rounds of shots, 400, 500 pounds. Sale time this morning, 9 o'clock. Sell pairs of bred cows 9:30 to 9:45. Sell calves and yearlings about 10:30. Fairly short on weigh cows. Be on pairs and bred cows pretty quick. We expect to sell 1,400 head here today. This is Smiley Wooten.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loans subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in 1 cent.
Hey CVE members, have you scheduled your no-cost home energy audit? If not, it's time to sign up. Call 575-746-3571 to get your name on the list for a free home energy audit. Weather stripping, new door sweeps, minor repairs, and much more. Start saving money and keep that purchased air in your home. Central Valley Electric Cooperative is happy to partner with Green Metal Energy for this valuable audit. Again, 575-746-3571.
When managing a chronic illness, access to the right treatments makes all the difference. Artesia General Hospital's Infusion Center provides IV therapy and biologic treatments, so you don't have to travel far for care. Expert infusion therapy right here in Artesia. Call 575-736-8256 today to learn more.
Here's a Mornings with Mike Winters fun fact. Alaska is the only state name that can be typed on one row of keys. Go ahead and try typing the other 49 states. We'll wait. Here's Mike Winters.
And welcome back to the morning show. And joining us in studio this morning, all the way from 2 blocks over at the Roswell Public Library. Rosie Ortiz back with us. Good morning. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Good. So how's life? Because your day job is at the children's library. Like you're.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you, as librarians, I think you do everything, but you're spending most of your time helping out in the children's side, running the thing.
The children's side, the teen side. That's my day job.
Good deal. So you're the expert on all things, because this is something, when we talk about the library, and we're going to talk about the upcoming events and things here, but we look at the library, and it's usually older people coming in for various tax forms and things like that, or young kids getting books and things. And I'm always saying, and it's good, keep doing that. But don't forget, teenagers, there's a lot of stuff for teenagers in there. And quite frankly, teenagers are the hardest to please. It's true in every aspect of life.
They're very fickle, so it's hard to pinpoint what the latest, trendiest thing is.
Yeah, and so I guarantee there's going to be books and things in the library that your 16-year-old that fights you on everything is going to find. They may not tell you. I'm not going to say. They may lie to you and be like, whatever. But if they're reading it, they're into it.
Yeah, absolutely. And so whatever they read, I'm all for it. So.
Absolutely. So I before we talk about all this stuff that's going on, I do want to remind folks that, hey, even when you get in those years of kids that's a little trickier to manage and raise, the library is still, even though it doesn't feel like it or seem like it, is very much a part of that thing. And I'm telling you, the graphic novels and things that are very much are going to be in a teenager's wheelhouse. And if you can convince them that there's cool things at the library and get them in there, they won't admit it, but they'll like it.
Yeah. And that might be a good starting point, is those manga and graphic novels.
Yeah, something like it.
Yeah.
And that's how you get people to read. I don't care, older, younger, especially kids. Yes, when they're in school, they're going to have to read things.
Yeah.
To get diplomas and degrees. That's part of learning. But if that's the only reading they're doing, they're going to hate reading.
Yes. It becomes a chore.
Yeah. So you got to encourage them. Pick things, and that's and how you do that, it's let them read things that interest them.
Yes.
Things that excite them. That's how there's no other way to get people to hooked on reading, is get them materials to read that interest them. That's the only advertisement you need.
Yeah.
Once you find that, they are hooked and locked.
Yeah, they have to know that reading can be just for fun, and it doesn't have to be educational.
Yeah.
It can be just like reading, like watching TV.
Exactly.
But,
Exactly. Or hanging out on I guess our age are more into TV. I think these people are more into phones and YouTube videos. So it's just as entertaining as that.
It's just a longer form of content.
It's more than it's more than 2 minutes of a box opening or something, whatever you're into. But once you treat it like a form of entertainment, like any other thing, other than, it's so much more than that. But when you present it from that angle, then it's salesmanship 101.
It is.
A salesman shows you the things that are best about it, and then you lure them in. Then you kind of learn the rest of the story sometimes.
Yeah.
Reading is that once you get them in to show them the things they're interested in, and then down the road, like, okay, I am going to need this for other things, but you know what? When I'm done with that, when I'm looking to unwind, rather than plop on the TV or start searching social media on my phone, I'm going to pick up my book and maybe continue on with my adventures of whatever I'm reading.
And if they're comfortable being on the phone, we do have the Libby app where you can just download the ebook, download the audiobook.
If attention spans are a little bit, then you can put them on an ebook. And trust me, go to the library for audiobooks, because if you buy them, you're going to have to take a mortgage out. I mean,
it's expensive,
I love the audibles and these things. I love the concept until I went to go buy a book, and I'm like, holy mackerel.
But just a reminder, Libby does have audio for free.
Exactly. Once you go through the library, it doesn't cost a dime. It's free, and they have the latest titles and all the stuff that people are looking for. You'll find them there, and it's not $30 or whatever they're charging.
No, or more.
Exactly. It is free, but it's only free if you have a library card and in good standing on that, which those are free too.
Those are free, yeah.
So if you do not have a card, or if you had a card but it's been since the Clinton administration, since you've used it, then maybe it's time to get a new card.
Yeah, just show up, show us your ID with current address, and that's that easy.
Yeah, and as parents, when I always think that's one of those moments I think every parent should do with their kids, is when they get to that age where they're starting wanting like a pocketbook or a wallet. And you say, okay, now's the time, because you need to put something in that pocketbook. You need to put something in that wallet. Let's start with a library card. That's your first real, because at that point, if they've got anything to put in that thing, it's like Captain America's fan club card, or you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the so-and-so restaurant's discount card, kid's birthday card. You know, now they've got something that's like mom and dad, like a credit card or something they need to use, and it's a big deal.
I'm going to transition to that kind of goes into our summer reading program,
which is about to kick off here.
It's about to kick off. The registration begins May 27th. That's a Tuesday, right after Memorial Day. But this year, the kids are going to earn what we're calling Roswell bucks.
Okay.
And so if they read 5 books, they'll get 5 Roswell bucks. If they get 5 to 10, they'll get 10 Roswell bucks. And then, I think it's 20 or more, then they get like $30.
Okay.
And with that money, that Roswell bucks money, they'll be able to purchase the prizes that we have.
Okay.
And it'll work kind of the same as like Peter Piper, the more tickets there and the bigger prizes. So it'll be that way. But in addition to reading, they're going to start, getting to know financial literacy.
Okay.
And I mean, and then,
the more you know,
they'll have
the
their
better.
little dollar bills there, their little Roswell buck dollar bills.
So they'll learn
and
a
that'll
little.
be fun, The kids get a kick out of, so they want to be like mom and dad. They can have their
It adds a
their
little more.
library cart, and now they'll have their own own cash.
You know what that reminds me of, and this is aging me a little bit, but for fans of the show Wheel of Fortune, now they do cash and you get cash and all that. But back when I was a kid, they had like this merry-go-round of 4 different like prize package rooms, and basically if you won 10 grand or whatever that is on the thing, then right after that round you went to they'd show you this room, and they'd have all these different things. It could be vacuum cleaners, it could be vacations or cars, and depending on how much money you won, you use it to buy the things that you like. And that's how Wheel of Fortune used to do it before they switched to. So this almost the Roswell bucks is obviously you're not spinning wheels and guessing letters, but the reward system's kind of very similar.
So we'll have, if you want to spend your money immediately, you want that $1 prize, they can get it. But, if you want that $40, $50, board game that we have up, you'll save up your money until you can get it.
Well, and it also cross levels. So like the younger kids are going to have certain things they want. Teenagers are going to be more into different things. And now they don't have to worry about, oh man, all I got was a pencil top, where the little kid's like, yeah, you got a pencil top. The older kid's like, oh, yeah. Now they pick what they want. And they get, if you want the pencil top, there it is, it's $1. Or if you want something bigger, here it is, you got it. And that's the cool thing.
And then we've got some cool gift cards for like the teens and the adults. If they want to participate, the adults, if they want to participate.
That is, that's something we always say every year is, yes, some reading programming, sure. We're always gearing towards the kids. And many of the day-to-day activities or weekly activities are centered towards kids. But adults are encouraged and invited to participate in the summer reading program as well, too. I know a lot of families do it as a measuring stick to help their own kids. It's like, hey, you're going to sign up. Mom or dad will sign up with you, and we'll do it together. And the beauty is, too, on some of this is, if it's still the same, is like, so if you have infant or children that are technically below reading age, you as a parent reading those books to those, that counts towards your reading time, too.
Because it's just
as much as theirs.
It's on the Beanstack app, and you're just, for the adults, it's as easy as just, I'm reading 15 minutes. Things like that, or however, but.
But everything, so using that to kind of read your own kids and stuff, maybe if that's a motivation to, and if you're a parent, I don't care how old your kid is. Well, if they're like 30, stop. But I mean, if they're like babies, and infants, you should be reading to them. I don't care if they don't understand words yet. The more you read to them, the more you're setting the table for this child to become a reader. That's what you do.
Yeah, and I mean, kids' brains, especially that little, they're sponges, so they're absorbing all of those words, and they're starting to put 2 and 2 together. So it's very beneficial as well as entertaining and a good way to calm your child down a little bit.
Well, and I'm gonna take a stab that, like, a lot of times you see these kids, these overachiever types, and that are doing. I'm gonna take a stab. A lot of them probably were read to as kids or started or got exposed to reading at a very, very young age. And when our brain is that young, there's sponges. They absorb everything, and as we get older, that sponge hardens a bit and don't suck up as much stuff.
It does.
And so when they're young, it's the same thing with foreign languages. I say this every time the library comes on. They usually do story time in Spanish and English. I don't care what your first tongue is. Bring your kids to both. Expose them to all of that.
Exactly.
As kids, they're going to absorb that, and I don't know a single person that will tell you that having a bilingual ability in this town would not serve you well.
Anywhere, yeah, absolutely.
Unless your bilingual is like Klingon and stuff, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's
Rocky
sort of,
or something,
but
yeah.
It serves you well. And to be honest, how would you get kids kind of trending in that direction? It legitimately starts by preschool story times and summer reading programs and stuff like that. That's how it's done.
I want to say for the teens, this year, it's simple. All you have to do is read a book, review it.
Okay.
You know, did you like it? Didn't you like it?
You don't have to
Why?
like the book to read it. You know, it could be a bad review if you didn't like the book.
Like, it's 1 star. I thought the main character sucked because they were whiny.
Yeah.
That's it. You know, we'll submit that. The more you read and submit reviews, it's kind of like, you know, your stuff in the ballot box a little bit. The one who does the most and gets the top prize, which the top prize is a free entrance, a free pass to the Eastern New Mexico State Fair.
Oh, nice.
Second prize is a smartwatch. And then the third prize is any book you like.
Nice.
So.
And I know with like the Eastern Mexico State Fair, they'll have certain days with certain things. If you play your cards right, you could go on one of those days where they do really cheap ride day or something. Now you got him free. You paid next to nothing for riding. You could, whereas it's easy to drop some coin in a fair experience, you could really cut 3/4 of your expenses. Now, turkey legs and all that, you're on your own. But
I mean, the entrance itself, you know.
Yeah, but getting in, and then if you do it on the day where you could literally save a ton of cash just by doing it. So, kids, you want mom and dad, whether you stay later at the fair, well, use this angle. I got a free thing. I don't spend any money. Can't I stay an extra 2 hours? Maybe now you got some foundation to make that argument.
There you go. Yeah. And mom and dad, that'll help. That's one less entrance.
Exactly. You're like, all right, it's cheaper. Go ahead, you know. And then you hope you raise your kid right, and they're out there being responsible. That's the way you do it. But this is legitimately this is all from summer reading program. All this stuff. So and adults, I encourage you to do it. Like with the Roswell Bucks, there's going to be prizes that adults will enjoy too. I'm sure you like free food and gift cards and everything else, just like children do.
Yeah. So I mean, the Roswell Bucks are just for the little ones.
Okay.
But I mean, you can help them choose a toy.
Oh,
you know,
absolutely.
like maybe you want that notebook instead of the 5th little unicorn toy that they have.
Or the compromise. Hey, you get that, and I'll buy you this thing over here later. You know, I mean, get that now, and then but the art of the deal.
Exactly. So see, we're teaching them reading, financial literacy, and negotiation.
Is there like a theme for this year? Because I know generally you have a theme for every year for summer. What's this year's theme?
The theme is Color Your World.
Excellent.
So actually for the kids, the little ones, if they complete at least 6 of the 8 weeks, they're in for the final raffle prize, which is it's about this. It's a big box of like different crayons, markers. It's like a big art set.
If you love to draw and do those kind of things, it's like your chalice of excellence of everything in it that you need.
It's an awesome Crayola,
Every kid wanted
set.
the big box of crayons with the sharpener in the back.
And
we all dreamed of that.
Yeah, this is a big old, and not just like the 96 crayons. This is, a different type. There's like neon colored crayons.
It's like the 2025
markers.
version of it, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big box. It's like a suitcase of crayons and markers.
Yeah, there's colors you're like, I didn't even heard of that color.
Yeah. I didn't know they make neon crayons. Apparently they do.
Yeah, I feel like technology's allowed that. I'm thinking when we were kids,
it was just the colored wax.
Yeah, but you had like, I'm saying, when I was a kid, the big whatever the 89, I didn't think it got any better than that. I was like, this is the top of the mountain. Why do I need 97? That's just dumb. We need 96.
Exactly.
But anyway, there is cool stuff, and that's what we're trying to say. Your kids are gonna love it. Please sign up for the summer reading program, and the great thing about it, if you sign up the 27th when this thing gets going. That literally gives you more time because generally you go through June and July on the summer reading program.
Yeah.
And so you get basically 2 months to kind of get all your summer reading in and done. And every year there's always that thing where they didn't do anything for a month and a half. And then like the last week out, they're starting reading everything. Yeah. If that's your game, God bless you. But I'm saying you don't have to be that hard. It's and the way what counts towards reading, like I said, reading to your kids and all this stuff for adults. All of that counts, and I'm going to take a stab that families are going to be hitting the road for the summer, going on vacations and things, whether it's by plane, by car, by boat, by whatever.
Yeah.
Your kids probably aren't driving. which means they got time to read.
Yeah, exactly. And just, I can't stress enough, it's free.
It's
Everything
all free.
at the library, all our Thursdays are our performance days. Those are free.
Yeah.
Books are free. If anything, you're going to gain, not just knowledge, but they're going to get prizes. So they're getting paid to read.
And if your kid is apprehensive about reading and all this, that's when you drag them to the library and say, okay, and whatever your kid's into, you love robots, guess what? Here's a whole section about robots.
Yeah.
Or if you're into Barbie, guess what? There's stories with Barbie in it over here.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean?
You like monster trucks? We've got books on monster trucks. Absolutely.
And you physically bring them and you get them out and say, this is your section. I know you like this. Look, there's 30 books right here just talking about monster trucks.
Yeah.
That's how you get them to read.
Yeah.
And I guarantee once you show them that, like, oh. And guess what? While you're driving on your road trip and there's no stop touching me going on in the back.
Yeah. Yeah. And especially once they get a little bit older, I've heard a few of them, like, I'm not doing any reading during the summer, because they're like 10,
it's my
11,
downtime.
12. Yeah. It's like, then maybe don't tell them you have to read the 10 books.
Right.
Get one book.
Exactly.
Get one book and then,
or hit them with the argument, like, you like to eat things and drink things. You're not stopping this summer because you had enough during the year.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is you don't have to read the books that your teacher assigned you. Now you read wherever you want to.
Yeah. If you want to read, again, I know a lot of parents don't like the comics or let them read that. If it's just fun, let them read
learning. It's learning. And if it's in the library, it's appropriate.
Yeah.
They're not going to, they're not putting
And if they're in 6th grade and they want to read, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, that's technically for like 4th graders or 5th graders, let them read, Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
Age appropriate, sure is. You want to be a parent, be a good judge of that, but sometimes you got to let them push the envelope a little bit. And the good news is, if you're going to let your kid push an envelope, the library is a pretty safe space to do that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is, if you want to, because at some point, you got to let your kids have freedom. They got to you got to trust in the training you're giving them and let them go out and do it.
Yeah.
And at younger levels, an easy way in a safe environment to do that without worried about them getting wrapped up in something you're nervous about is let them be that person in the library.
Yeah.
Let them soil their oats in the library a little bit. If they want to read something that's a little like,
yeah,
it's okay. Let them. And then when they have questions about it later, have good discussions with them about it and talk about it.
Yeah, that's a good way to have discussions with your kids.
Yeah.
And, obviously we vet all the books. We get well-reviewed books.
Sure.
So.
Well, I mean, it's and we live in a world that if you want to be offended, you're going to be offended.
Sure.
You'll find a way to be offended. I'm sure if you're looking for that, you'll find things in there that I can't believe they, whatever. And, but you know what? This is America. And you know what? Sometimes you have to be a little offended so we can have the conversation and understand the angles. And you still may not agree with it at the end of the day, but at least you understand. And I know we're getting way off the thing, but to be honest, this is those early levels to prepare your kid for when they do become adults and they have to make adult decisions and do adult things and, quite frankly, do things that may be uncomfortable. The more well-read they are, the more that they see things, the better equipped they are to handle those situations. And it really is as simple as turning your kid loose in the library and say, you've got this whole section right here. Yeah. Any book in this section is all yours. Take it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing. So, and the summer reading program is a good tool to get them to do that. So sign up beginning May 27th.
May 27th.
They can just go to the front desk or the children's desk or both.
To the children's section.
Okay.
And we'll be having popcorn and snow cones that day too.
So we'll have like a little kickoff party kind of thing.
And then that whole week, we'll also be, at the end of the week, we'll be raffling off 4 movie passes.
Awesome.
So, sign up and you can get a movie pass.
And it's the summer. There's always good movies in the movie theater in the summer. There's always the blockbusters, the big Marvel movie or the big...
I was going to say all those superhero movies come out in the summer.
The big whatever, the big blockbusters come out. So, and I know y'all been to movies. You get a free movie pass. That's $20 right there. You know what I mean?
Go. Yeah. So this
cool prizes.
Cool prizes for the kids. Cool, gift card stuff for the teens and the adults. And then the teens get the bigger prices of like the smartwatch and stuff.
I know we'll get you in later in the month here to kind of talk about as we get to close to some of the weekly activities that are going on. But just to kind of tease a little bit, what are some of the activities that are going to be at the library this summer that are kind of attached to the summer reading program?
So, like I said, every Thursday we have a performer. We're going to kick things off that first Thursday in June with Tall Paul Magic. He is really fun.
I think has he been back?
He here last year.
I seem to remember talking about that before.
Yeah, and he did a great show. I mean, you guys bring him out. He's hilarious.
Kids love him.
Yeah, and then, I mean, he packed the house. Hopefully, come back.
Sometimes these guys do songs and things that it turns into rock. Like, I will never forget several years ago, and I failed to remember the gentleman's name.
Mm-hmm.
And he kind of had a following. And I know he did the library. He used to go around the schools. But he had a song called the Burrito Song.
Oh, no.
And I'm pretty sure these kids are probably high school now, but there's a group of them that I guarantee every one of them can sing that burrito song.
Yeah.
Always the teachers.
Like
that's how I get wind of these things.
Yeah, the peanut butter jelly song. Everyone still knows that song. Yeah.
Yeah, but so this gentleman is very much in that vein. And
absolutely. And then after that is Denise Gard.
Okay.
With her dogs, it's a dog show.
Cool.
They do dog tricks, things like that. And then it's Megan Casey and her puppets, the Rocky Mountain puppets. So it's think what's the guy with the puppets?
Jim Henson or
no the
the stand-up comedian. Dunham, Jeff Dunham.
Yes. So it's kind of like in that vein, only more kid friendly.
Sure, a stand-up comic. But kid friendly
comedy
and with puppets.
With puppets, yeah. And then on the last Thursday in June we have it's Lubbock STEM. They're coming in and they're going to do some sort of like light show or something like that. So it's going to be cool. That's for June.
Anytime you make things like light up or loft off or blow up, kids are going to love that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, we have our Friday matinee.
Oh, yeah, the movies.
Movies. So come out with free popcorn. We have a really good lineup this year.
Yeah, it's cool. And think of this as like, the family kind of unwinds the end of the week. Parents get off work there. Kids get out of school. Yeah. And so how are we going to kick off the weekend? We'll all go to the library, eat some popcorn, and watch a free movie and hang out. You can, bring your blankets and lay it on the floor there if you want to.
We try to move around the sofa so, it feels more like
like a slumber party type environment. Sleepover type deal.
Yeah.
So, and then they I know you did last year. How many years? Is that the first year last year? You've been doing it for a few years.
The matinee?
Yeah.
It's been I think a while. Since I've been here, it's been a couple of years.
I knew it's been a while, but I was like, I couldn't remember if it started like a year ago or 2 years ago. But it's now a Roswell Public Library tradition during the summer. Is bring the family, come in and kick off your weekend with a Friday night or Friday afternoon party, movie party kind of thing.
Yeah, just enjoy one and a good way to start your weekend.
Absolutely. And like you said, and here's the deal. Whether you do it digitally or you like paper, you swing by and get the calendars for the library. They usually come in a 2-month piece of paper if you get the paper. When I'm guessing like be May and June or something like that, or on the thing.
The summer one we will be giving out May 27th.
Okay, so 27th you'll get that one, and that way every week. That way you don't have to write these down. We're telling you it'll be right there, and then you can say, "Oh, okay," and then you can plot and coordinate and get all that.
And we will have a special, with we call it our summer concert series, but it's all the performers, and they'll have a special paper just for that.
I'm telling you, the most of the events, yes, are kid-centric. They're geared toward kid. But I'm telling you, there's going to be one or two that mom and dad are going to get equally be entertained or invested in.
It's kid-centric, but, I mean, they're fun. Yeah. They're just fun to watch.
I know every time when you do, like, the touch-a-truck type things and stuff, there's adults equally wanting to see the trucks and all that as much as the kids are. It's not... It's not universal to kids. And but that's a summer reading program, and so yes, we are targeting kids to make sure we get kids to read and do more of this. But it's really a family activity, and and I'm going to tell you right now, the kids that are going to do the best and achieve the most during the summer reading program are the ones that are going to have the parents that are participating as well and being active. Going to the things, being accountable. So they're not reading all the books the last 4 days of the thing. Say, hey, have you read your book this week, or however you set that up? Do it. Oh, I haven't. So let's read together. Whatever that is. Make it hold each other accountable, but hold each other as part of the enjoyment of it too. It's like, hey, we got that thing next week. Don't forget, we're gonna go see that.
So just remember, parents, if you're part of it, read. You also get gift certificates every week.
Oh yeah, you get some swag too,
there's
mom and dad. Mom and dad won't go empty-handed.
Absolutely, yeah.
But what the real reward will be is your kid is gonna thrive from this stuff. This is what makes all the things that we want in our kids: the critical thinking, the becoming adults, preparing them from adults.
Yeah.
Kids that read and kids that do this stuff, they excel in all of these things. They just well-read kids make well-read humans.
Absolutely.
And that's what you do, or adults. That's just the nature. And so it's be that if you want to give your kid the tools to do whatever they want to do, the library's got to be a part of that. Let them read. Let them. How do kids acquire interest? They got to do stuff to get interest.
Yeah.
And sometimes it starts by seeing a picture in a book. How many kids want to be astronauts because they saw a picture in a book of the Apollo stuff, or someone going to the moon, or vice versa. They see a book about nursing and say, I want to be that nurse. Here's a book about Florence Nightingale. I want to be a nurse now. You know what I mean? That's kind of the stuff we're talking about.
We had a kid the other day who they were discussing axolotls in class, and they went to the library to get books on axolotls. Those weird looking little fish, salamander looking things.
Well, that's just it. The curiosity, brings you into it. And so when you hit life and you don't know what it is, rather than do it, or maybe start with the Google search, but then let's go to the library and say, hey, let's read some books about those penguins or whatever it is that you found out. That's how the library works. So,
absolutely.
Good deal. But and the summer reading program is a great tool for that. So we're weeks away from that kicking off here. May 27th. As soon as the doors open there on that Friday morning. Is it a Friday morning, the 27th?
No, that's a Tuesday morning.
It's a Tuesday morning.
It's right after Memorial Day.
Oh, perfect. So it'll be right after the Memorial Day weekend. You're going to be, it's a 4-day work week, so that's going to be an Artie bonus. Let's kick it off by making part of that day. Bring your family by and sign up for the summer reading program.
And it'll go that whole week.
Now, if you space on the 27th, no big deal. You can sign up. I'm going to tell you, though, if you sign up after June's over, it's going to be really hard for you to do it. So please if you can't sign up on the 27th, that first week or two in June, please get it locked down so you have ample time to complete the program.
Now, if let's say you didn't sign, you can sign up for the duration of the thing, but after you have to do at least 6 of the 8 weeks to qualify for the final prize.
Gotcha. So
if you're
past the 2-week mark, it's really hard to do this.
But still sign up. If it's June 27th, sign up, and your child can get a weekly prize.
The real prize is not the Roswell bucks. It really. I mean, yes, that's the carrot we dangle, but the real prize is the reading and the stories, and
it is.
And at dinner table at night, when your kid won't shut up about the book you're reading, that's the victory.
Yeah, it is.
That's the win.
That's
the Roswell
the
bucks
long-term goal, but the short-term, even
but I get
it.
You got to use whatever tools in the tool bag to get the horse to the
water
to
or
the
whatever.
stream to drink. You got to do that, and so yes, use that as the carrot. But like you said, if you sign up late, some reading is better than no reading.
Exactly. Yes.
So if you're late to the game, okay, we may not get you the grand prize at the end, but you know what you're going to get? The grand prize that this kid is now probably found an interest that's going to stick with them the rest of the year.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else we want to talk about with the library outside of summer reading or anything we just
all our programs stay the same.
Yes. Get the calendar.
Yes, get the calendar. We will put a pause on the story times the last weeks.
Those are more of a
May.
school year type program.
It is.
Generally.
We have them throughout, but in order to prepare for this, we do put a pause on it at the end of May and the first week of June, and then they'll start up again. So
to be honest, there'll be a lot of story times just in other forms. Through the summer reading program.
Yeah.
It just won't be a formal today's summer reading. You're getting the same thing just in a different package.
Exactly. Other than that, like I said, we still have our STEAM first and third of Saturday of the month. Our cooking club on second Saturday of the month, which
the planters.
You've missed it, but on Saturday, May 10th, we had chocolate. On June, we will be decorating cupcakes. We're gonna be learning how to mix colors.
Okay.
Because it's color your world.
Yeah.
So we've got that going on.
All themed to the summer reading.
Yes, exactly.
Theme of it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then second Saturdays at the Roswell Museum or at the library because. Their building is still.
If you want the love and all the cool stuff at the Roswell Museum and Art Center, second Saturdays on at the library.
Yeah.
And this will be for the foreseeable future and until they can go back home.
For now, we love having them there.
Well, and it's really cool because a lot of what they're doing and what you're doing are the same thing.
Yeah.
Theirs is art and yours is books, but it's one and the same.
But with Color Your World, it's a nice blend.
Well, and they go. You want to read more about art? Guess what? We got you covered. You want to practice the art? They got you covered.
Exactly.
And that's kind of deal. So yes, please, Roswell. And you can always if you don't have time to go down and pick up a calendar at the library, if you go to the city's website, roswell-nm.gov, there is a library tab there.
Yeah.
And that'll take you to the library's portion, and you'll find that calendar. Also, that's your world to the audiobooks and all the things we were talking about. If you need tutoring for your children, there's things online on the website that can help you navigate that. And one other thing I did want to ask, since we are getting close to summer, is people are going to be traveling and things. While you're picking up your books from your summer reading program, if you're going to go to other parts of the state, also ask about the New Mexico Department of Tourism pass that you get. And this one pass that you get is good for 6 people. And you check it out like a book, but you can't renew it or anything. And you have to do it. You check it out. You get it for 7 days. And 7 days you bring it back. So you might want to, when you do check it out, right before you're going on your trip or whatever it is. And there's like 15 or 20 different locations around the state.
Throughout the state,
Yeah, that you can get into for free. I know some of them include, like if you're going to Lincoln, the Lincoln Courthouse and all that stuff, there's a pass that you don't have to pay a dime to do all that stuff.
And there's a few things in Santa Fe.
Yeah,
and
Albuquerque, I think, I feel like the Nuclear Museum's on there, but I don't quote.
I know the Space Museum in Alamogordo
is on there. Yes,
yeah.
the one in there. And I know there's some art museums in Albuquerque and Santa Fe that are on there. But in my head, I don't quote me, but I feel like I remember seeing the Nuke one on there.
It might be. I know I think the History Museum in Santa Fe is part of it too. So.
Yeah, and I think there's some in Cruces too as well. So regardless of what part of the state you're going into, there's probably something on that list that you could get in for free for 6 people.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is all through New Mexico Department of Tourism. But like you said, the only plot and planning is it's first come, first serve, and you can't renew it. You have to come in, ask for it. They give you the pass, and then in 7 days you have to bring it back. You can't renew it. You can't go over the phone like you can with the books and say, I'd like to renew it. No, it's got to come back. But the good news is there's plenty of these passes, so I don't think you guys ever run out.
No,
or rarely run
and
out.
if anything, if we do, like let's say everyone decides to go out, it would just be like a waiting list.
Yeah.
But we've never had
I would say that's
we have
rarity.
plenty. Yeah.
So don't worry about it. But remind you, if you don't get this 3 or 4 days out from your trip, and then you guys turn it back in the middle of your trip.
Yeah.
Plan according. And now, if your trip's longer than that, then maybe we need to make some arrangements and mail it back, or I don't know, but we'll figure that one out.
You can talk to us and then
maybe we can make an extension because, like you said, we do have plenty of them. But
Mhm.
if that's a circumstance, talk to the librarian, and they'll be happy to work with you on that.
Absolutely. I also want to point out we do have our outdoor backpacks. It's just a nice, beginners things for like hobbies, like night sky watching, like the constellations, bird watching, things like that, fishing,
Excellent.
So it's okay. You want to go out to Bitter Lakes and, take one out and,
you want to do
look at
things
insects,
that aren't.
look at birds, look at rocks.
You want to
things like
experience the world that not necessarily book related, but is. Then come on by and get your accoutrement. Maybe read a book about it, and now you want to try it, and now you don't have to go and spend hundreds of dollars on fishing poles.
Yeah,
and all that.
they have beginners books in the backpack of like, field guides for bird watching and things like that.
So if you want to learn the thing and not, get financially invested.
We have you covered for any and all, hobbies, interests at the library.
If you want to broaden your world, the library is a tool that can absolutely help you do that. So.
It opens up not just your imaginary world, but the actual world, the natural world, and things like that.
Exposes you to things you didn't get to do, and who knows, maybe your next passion is something you learned in a book at the library, or one of these kits at the library.
Absolutely.
Very good. Did we get it all, Rosa?
I believe so. Awesome. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Don't forget, May 27th is the kickoff of the summer reading program. That is the day. They're going to have, food and drinks and a little bit of party here, but that's the first day that you can sign up your families for summer reading program.
Yep.
And it goes on till the end of July.
Yes.
Good deal. Well, thank you, ma'am. We'll see you here next time, if not sooner.
Absolutely.
All right.
All right.
Boop.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Good deal.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty windy today. We have a front moving through the area. Could get a few gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Watch out for some blowing dust. We'll have sunshine, afternoon highs in the low to mid 80s. For the overnight hours, still windy. It'll be clear, though, and our low in the low 50s. The wind will calm down on Tuesday. It will be sunny. Our afternoon high in the mid-80s. Sunny and warmer Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
From townhall.com, I'm Rich Thomason. It is not a done deal just yet, but President Trump's big, beautiful bill has advanced in the House, voting 17-16. The House Budget Committee last night cleared the way for the GOP budget bill to move ahead. 4 Republican skeptics voted present, allowing the measure to proceed.
At its core, the package permanently extends the existing income tax cuts that were approved during President Trump's first term in 2017. That means without action, taxes will go up. The measure also adds temporary new tax cuts that the president campaigned on in 2024, including no taxes on tips, overtime pay, and auto loan interest payments.
Correspondent Ken Lorman says now come talks aimed at crafting a bill that could win approval by the original Memorial Day deadline. President Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin scheduled to talk by phone this morning. And following that call, Mr. Trump will be speaking with Ukrainian President Zelensky as Russia's war in Ukraine rages on. Cancer touches us all. The words of former President Biden. He's facing a serious health challenge.
Biden's office says he was diagnosed with prostate cancer on Friday, with the cancer cells having spread to the bone. A statement said, while this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. The 82-year-old Biden and his family are reviewing treatment options with his physicians. Greg Clugston, the White House.
New Jersey transit trains return to service first thing tomorrow. The agency has a tentative deal to end a 3-day strike by engineers. A pay dispute idled service for some 100,000 daily riders. On Wall Street, the Dow is down 225 points, NASDAQ off 263. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Here's an important message from the Diabetes Solution Center. Do you like pricking your fingers to test your blood sugar levels? No one does, but it's important to maintain your health. And now, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you don't need to prick your fingers anymore. It's easy to use and helps you make more accurate diabetes treatment decisions. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now. And if you have Medicare or most major insurance coverage, you may be able to get a new CGM at little to no out-of-pocket cost. Shipping is free, and we'll even bill your insurance company for you. If you are testing your blood sugar 3 or more times daily, injecting insulin, or using an insulin pump, call the Diabetes Solution Center right now to learn how to end the painful finger sticks and get your own continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, at little to no out-of-pocket cost.
Israel says it will allow a limited amount of humanitarian aid to reach Gaza after a nearly 3-month blockade. The BBC's Wira Davies in Jerusalem.
The office of the Israeli Prime Minister said that on the recommendation of the country's military, it would allow a basic amount of food into Gaza to ensure that famine does not develop in the Palestinian territory. Israel has come under increasing international pressure to lift its 10-week blockade of Gaza, which has put much of the population at risk of famine. An Israeli statement said that such a crisis would jeopardize the ongoing expanded military operation in which Israel is sending troops and tanks into Gaza in a full-scale campaign to defeat Hamas.
Pope Leo and Vice President Vance have met ahead of a flurry of U.S.-led diplomatic efforts to make progress on a ceasefire in Russia's war in Ukraine. Joining him at the meeting today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio. News and analysis at townhall.com. In India, they're going above and beyond, trying to cut the number of heat-related deaths.
The heat is always a problem for millions of people in the country, and one city is leading the way in determining ways to deal with it. Ahmedabad, a city of 7 million people, frequently has temperatures of 115 to 122. Following a brutal heat wave in 2020 that killed 1,300 people, officials went to work on a plan for responding. That includes painting roofs and walls white to reflect the sun's rays and setting up water sprinklers in public bus stops. Experts say the measures are working because the death counts are going down. Jason Walker reporting.
More severe storms expected to roll across the central U.S. this week, following the weather-related deaths of more than 24 people. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man on this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel listen, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock. Welcome to hour number 2 of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday, everybody.
Yes, sir.
Final week of school for
Yes.
kiddos in the area this week. Graduations this end of this week here. All kinds of activity happening around town.
I always harken back to Saved by the Bell. They had their graduation episode, and they had a song. I don't remember exactly how it goes, but it's like, it seems like only yesterday we started, but soon we'll give them back our books and paths, or something like that was the first line. And it's like, yeah, take these back, and here comes life.
Yep.
Hope you're ready.
All I remember from my graduation is, a couple of them, but I do remember that when you go to get your diploma, and this is how they did it back in my school back in the day. Like, you go up to get your diploma, they hand you
a piece of rolled up paper.
No, they handed me a cover. And you open said cover, like a little photo book cover thing, and you open said cover, and it was blank. Ain't nothing in there.
Okay.
After the graduation ceremony, I had to go to the office to make sure I didn't have any like overdue library books or any of that. And then once will give you the diploma.
Once you pay unto Caesar what is Caesar's, then we'll relinquish. No, what we got was, if I remember correctly, they handed us a rolled up piece of just paper with a ribbon around it.
Yeah.
And that was our diploma. Now, if you weren't like delinquent on anything, like you said, bills, or if you actually passed, like they mostly wanted to hold off to, let's make sure you don't screw our graduation up. If you do something stupid on the day, we're not going to give you this. But once we got it, it was the booklet. Ours was Roswell High, so it was red.
Yeah.
You open it and it had a hand-drawn Roswell coyote.
Yeah.
Like right there on the inside, kind of like over the.
Yeah, mine was a cougar.
It was the coyote, but then it showed like a pencil-drawn version of the school on one side, and then your diploma was on the other.
Yeah, my school mascot was the Cougars, which translates something completely different
certainly
nowadays.
does.
Back then, I wonder if they are still the Cougars. I hope they are. I have to go look that up. But I remember during my graduation ceremony, and we were doing it on the football field, kind of like everybody else does, and except parents and stuff were sitting on the field with us.
Yeah.
Like the class was here, and then there was like you could have all of your family you want up in the stands, but like your parents sat on the field like in a different section.
That's different.
Yeah, and so you walk up to the stage, you do the shake take job, and then you walk down the stage and you actually walk by the parents section to get and I was towards the back of the group because of my last name.
Sure.
This is Sisson, not W. Which everyone, so first off, I get up there and everyone does that was my nickname in high school. Everyone's sprung the league, so the whole class is
great.
But then I walk down the stage, and right across the parent section, I literally open up my diploma and see it's blank. I said, "See, Mom, aren't you proud?" And I kept on walking down to my seat.
Knowing it was going to be empty.
I knew it was empty.
That's awesome.
I knew, because they told us it's empty. You got to go to the office, and I knew it was empty. So I literally opened up and said, "Hey,
Pulling
Mom,
shenanigans. Now, I did. I did something. I was like, I have to do something.
Yeah.
So I did jump up and click my heels together.
Ooh.
That was my big move.
Good. I would try that, but I'd fall my tail out.
I pulled off the move. I think it's one of those I still to this day can do. But, yeah, I'm not going to try it right now. It's too early.
Too early.
My joints ain't.
I gotta work on the hammies first.
Yeah, I haven't done any of my stretches yet. Couldn't possibly.
But behave, kids. Don't do anything I say.
Although, hold on.
Ooh, he's got to go for things. So, but while he's doing that, happy Monday. Hope everyone is having a good week. Of course, we had a lot of playoff baseball action. Congratulations to Nimi and Artesia on winning state championships. Gateway Christian baseball team getting to the championship game. Dexter Demon softball team also getting to the championship game as well. So congratulations to all of them.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right.
So I was saying yesterday, I was talking to a friend. I was like, yeah, our friend, our video producer Jocelyn, her daughter is graduating this week.
See,
from Goddard High with honors.
With honors, yeah.
But I was thinking about it. It's like, everybody, because one of our friends isn't going to get to be there, but she can watch the broadcast at ksvptv.com.
Ding.
But I was saying everybody's going to have their confetti, blasters, and of course their noisemakers. I have something better.
What'd you procure? Oh, a megaphone. Yeah, you had that.
So I'm thinking when they call her name and she's walking across the stage, I'm going to stand up and just go, "Abby, we're all very proud of you."
Hope they can hear it.
Just literally putting her on blast. Oh, no, that's not full volume.
Oh, I know. I just know that there are times when that thing gets ornery.
I can always give it
yeah.
Give it one of those, too, just for old time's sake. But
how did you? I forgot. Did you go out and buy that, or did someone give it to you?
You know what's really funny is my kid's mom actually got this for me.
You've had it for years.
She got it on sale, like on clearance, at J.C. Penney.
Oh.
Of all places. So she got this for me, and I've just had it for years. And the funny thing is, I only recently discovered there's a bottle opener on this thing.
Well, that's handy.
When you're in the middle of a protest,
when you start a riot, you need a good cold
one.
That's
right. Crack one open, having me a Mexican Coke while I'm out protesting, It's just handy.
And when I think of megaphones, I think of J.C. Penney.
That's right. Quality megaphone manufacturers.
Well, you think about it. Like, you go into Penny's, and, you buy your clothes, luggage, or whatever, and then literally at checkout, you're like, are those Boston baked beans?
Yeah, they just have, like, shelves of, like, impulse, especially around, like, specifically
Christmas?
Father's Day and Christmas.
Uh-huh.
The best ones, you can go up and you can get, like, Pro Shaver's Kit. Oh, that thing is hot garbage. It's like a boar's hair beard brush or whatever.
High-end golf tees.
Yeah. Desktop clock radios.
Oh, yeah. Usually a nail grooming kit.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is if you got fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you'll find like the watch setters. Like if you have a motion sensitive watch, but you don't wear it all the time and you're tired of resetting the time, they have little boxes that you can keep them from doing that. Sometimes I see those at the Penny's thing. But anyway.
Yeah, impulse purchases.
Yes. Or the I don't know if they have it anymore, but one of the big ones I remember from my younger days was the mini backgammon / chess set.
The magnetic one? Yep.
Yeah.
Folded in with all the pieces.
Perfect for the car. I'm like, well, Dad's usually driving.
Yeah, that's great until one of the pawns loses the magnet in the bottom and you're on a road trip and you can't keep track of the white one.
Right. The kids, before they had DVD players in every car, we had to, come to our own devices to find things to do.
I'm sure they still have, like, road versions of games, but they can't be nearly as popular as they used to be.
Yeah.
Like, because we didn't have anything back in the day, so we had Magnetic Monopoly. Or the best was the Travel Pop-O-Matic Trouble, because the pieces would fit into the slots so it wouldn't bounce around everywhere.
Now, if you're rich, or had rich parents, the ultimate was that Donkey Kong or Miss Pac-Man mini arcade thing that actually looked like the arcade machine, but it was a miniaturized version. And I'm pretty sure, it's really impossible as an adult to probably work this.
I would love to see somebody hit a kill screen on a Donkey Kong mini arcade game.
But if you had that toy when I was a kid, you were highballer status.
Oh yeah,
you were living large.
Do you remember? And this is the step down of that technology, but I always loved it so much. So there was this one. It was like it looked like a front console of like a motorcycle or a car, and you'd push the gas pedal or the button, and it would light up the screen, and it would show the road. And then whether you, based on your turn, you could stay on the road.
It had a weird light on it. Yeah.
It never mattered whether you stayed on the road or not. It was just you trying to.
If I remember right, it was nothing like digital. No. It was like the spinning roll of the road, and there was this weird light on it. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was our version of that we had in the car.
I remember one of the cool toys that I never really got into because it didn't work as advertised was when I was a child, someone got me this big bubble basketball court. And it had like a marble in it and these buttons to either push the levers in there to try to shoot the marble into the basket. But it was like a whole full court.
I can see the one you're talking about.
And there was problem is, you would literally have to get a hammer to pound it to get that little marble to go higher than 2 inches off that thing. It was a complete
especially
hot garbage, but it looked cool.
After you've used it a few times, the lever's not the same.
Yeah.
Another one that's a great example, and not a travel game, obviously, but did you ever successfully complete the game Mousetrap?
Yes.
Really?
Oh, I spent many a millennia playing Mousetrap.
We could never, we'd get it set up, and then it would always just go off. And so we'd go through the whole setup again, and then we'd move a couple of times, and it would just go off again. Like the cage would just drop.
Well, in all fairness,
we got frustrated and eventually just threw it out.
In all fairness, playing it as an actual game, I probably did 3 times.
Right.
Most of the time, I'd literally just be by myself.
Set up the Rube Goldberg.
And try to get the whole thing to go through, get the guy to dive in the bathtub, to get the thing to roll down the thing. I just built it to build it, you know, just to... I didn't have a lot of people who played board games with me when I was a kid. We had Candyland too. I never played it.
Yeah.
Chutes and Ladders. Had it. Never played it.
There was a few. We played ones that were kind of obscure. Like there was one that I've seen a couple of times. It was called Payday. And the board was a calendar. And so you'd have to play through the month to get to Payday. And then you'd start at the beginning, and then you'd have to pay. It's basically life.
Right.
Like cheap, like ghetto life. But that was a big one. And then the other one was, and it turns out this one was actually a collector's item, and we screwed up because we tore up the pieces and messed up the box. There's a game called Masterpiece.
Okay.
It's an art auction game. So it's like a board game. You have to go through the game, but every now and again you have to auction off pieces of art. And there's all these little miniature versions of like Starry Starry Night, The Scream, like all these super famous like Rembrandt and like Picasso art pieces. And you have to bid on these art. It was a blast of a game. But we messed the box up. Come to find out that a pristine version of that game is worth like $13,000 online.
Yeah. Like I remember we had Dark Tower, which was that was of the era where board games were trying to compete with digital. And so they were incorporating more digital aspects into board games. And I had 2 games of which. One, I don't remember the name of it, but it was this murder crime deal. And they had like this box, and you talked, and you had these cards, and you had to, and there was and all I remember is anytime there was a new murder that you had to solve, all of a sudden you hear, I'm like, and that was, to this day, it's almost haunting that I remember that. And that's one of those things. I remember feeling a kind of way because I remember asking my parents, "Hey, what is that song?" And they said, "Oh, pray for the dead, and the dead will pray for you." Those are the words of the song.
I never knew there were words to that song.
Those are the words for those songs.
Wow, let's creep our kid out.
And so I've got that whole. So even to this day, I hear that song, I'm a little skeeved by it.
I did not know there were words to that. I didn't know those were the words either.
Those are the words.
That's something.
Anyway. But Dark Tower's on. Go look that one up on eBay. I think it's worth. I think if a pristine one's worth about $500 now.
You just broke my brain. Wow. Because I would have thought if there were words to that song, it'd be in like Latin or something.
No, that's the words. Pray for the dead, and the dead will pray for you. Anyway,
the more you know.
On a happy note, let me give you the rundown for today's show. We'll get you up to date with the weather in just a few minutes. Spoiler alert, it's going to be like hot. We got the red flags and the wind advisories all for today. But I'm going to tell you this. For graduation this week, I don't see any rain, but we might hit the century mark. So just be warned. It's going to be warm around graduation time, but no talk of rain. But anyway, we'll get you up to date with the weather here in just a bit. Don Weld will join us here shortly thereafter, wearing his Friends of Bitter Lake Wildlife Refuge hat. And, Alzheimer's hat. Sorry, I forgot. It's Alzheimer's today. Later on, will be the Friends of Bitter Lake hat. So we'll talk walk in Alzheimer's. We'll talk Alzheimer's Association with Don Weld this hour as well, too. Before we do any of that, though, let's get you up to date on that weather.
Weather this hour brought to you by Southwest Bearing under new ownership. Custom solutions for your heavy equipment. Hydraulic hoses, hose repair, bearings, seals, sprockets, belts, tools, fluids, and fittings.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty windy today. We have a front moving through the area. Could get a few gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Watch out for some blowing dust. We'll have sunshine, afternoon highs in the low to mid 80s. For the overnight hours, still windy. It'll be clear, though, and our low in the low 50s. The wind will calm down on Tuesday. It will be sunny, our afternoon high in the mid 80s, sunny and warmer Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Thank you, Steve. Currently 68 degrees here in Roswell. Humidity is at 28%. Winds currently out of the northwest at 7 miles per hour. If you like wind, today's your day. We do have a wind advisory kicking in at noon through 7 p.m. Red flag warning kicking in at 11 this morning through 9 p.m. this evening. Expect patchy blowing dust for this afternoon. Sunny and 84 for a high. And believe it or not, this is one of our cooler days this week. It warms up. Like I said, we're pushing 100 by the end of the week here. Winds will be out of the west, 10 to 15 this morning, increasing 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35 miles per hour later today. Tonight, winds continue under mostly clear skies, and overnight low 52. Northwest winds early, 20 to 25, gusting as high as 35. After midnight, those winds should drop down 10 to 15 miles per hour. Tuesday, less wind, more heat. Sunny, 87 for a high, north winds 5 to 10. Wednesday, we'll hit the 90s, sunny and 92. Northwest winds at around 5 miles per hour. Thursday, we hit the mid-90s, sunny and 95. Friday, sunny, 99. So that's probably going to be our century mark day there on Friday. Saturday, sunny, 97 for a high, and sunny and 95 for Sunday. So, sunner starts this week, even if it's not official. It does on the forecast there. So, caps and gowns, and maybe shorts underneath the caps and gowns here for the graduations this weekend. All right, it is 22 minutes after 8. We're going to take a 3.5-minute break, and then Don Weld will join us wearing his Alzheimer's Association hat this morning. We'll get it right. Don't go away. We'll be back. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in month's end.
Do you know what the hardest part of dealing with the roofer is? Just trying to get them on the phone. Jennifer here from Trustmark Roofing, and I want you to know that you can always trust Trustmark Roofing to answer our phone. Need a free roof inspection? Just call us at 575-755-ROOF and we'll answer with a live person, a real human being. Have a roofing project already going with us and need to discuss it? Just call 575-755-ROOF and we will answer the phone. No answering machine, no voicemails, and no weird robot automated attendant. That's because at Trustmark Roofing, we're all about relationships and treating people right. That's true for customers and vendors and insurance companies and employees. Anyone and everyone who comes in contact with our company. So if you have any roofing needs at all, trust Trustmark to treat you right and to answer the phone. Our number again is 575-755-ROOF or find us online at trustmarkroofpros.com.
Trustmark Roofing, we put people first.
Have you spent a lot of time trying to whiten your teeth with no real success? Here at Carabelli Dental, we have a solution. Get that perfect smile you've always wanted with veneers. Veneer treatment is quick and minimally invasive and will provide you with a confident smile in just a couple easy steps. You deserve to love your smile, so don't let another day pass you by without calling us to start the smile design process.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental at the corner of 9th and Main in Roswell or call 575-622-4455.
Are you ready to succeed? At ENMU Roswell, they cater to your educational needs. Their dedicated facilities and faculties provide you with an exceptional learning experience. From academic programs to behavioral sciences, business, health education, or technical education, ENMU Roswell offers a wide variety of certifications and degree programs designed to take your education and experience to the next level. Register now on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
Maybe your AC unit needs a little tender, loving care. If you don't know where to turn, then you don't know Jack. In fact, they're downright funky. Let the boys at Fergie's Plumbing and Heating get your AC unit ice cold, just like some of my lady friends. Don't let any fool make you lose your cool. Fergie's Plumbing and Heating. If you don't know Fergie, then you don't know Jack. 632-2668.
Playing dance music can help ward off mosquitoes. Now you have a reason to invite Pitbull to your next pool party. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 26 minutes after 8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, wearing his Alzheimer's Association hat this morning, Don Weld back with us. Good morning, Don.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you doing today?
I'm trying to catch up from the weekend, but
I
I'm doing good.
Don wears many hats, and he was doing a lot of work for American Legion this weekend out at the Memory Lawn, and probably this past weekend's better than this upcoming weekend to be out there working.
I know. And we're going to be out there this upcoming weekend too.
Okay.
For the flags, going to put the flags out.
Oh yeah, for Memorial Day and stuff like that. So we'll bring lots of water if folks come out for that.
Yeah.
It's gonna
for sure.
It's gonna be warm this weekend.
Yep.
So, good deal. But for folks not familiar, Don joins us each month. Just kind of give us an update on what the Alzheimer's Association here for Chavez County's got going on, and really the big thing and this is a year-round opportunity here, is every year the big thing that the Alzheimer's Association does that most people know for around here is the Walk to End Alzheimer's event that happens in the fall every year.
Right. November.
And it fluctuates. Some years on the courthouse lawn, some years it's moved around over the years. But that's the big tentpole event that goes on, and so throughout the year we're always encouraging folks to start even though I know it's actually May but we talk about this in January too. Even though the thing's not till the fall, putting your teams together, raising money,
That's
getting
right.
all
That's
that.
That's what we need to do now.
That's what we're in the middle of working.
Right.
So
we need sponsors. We need teams. You can go to alz.org/Roswell Walk and
sign up there.
Sign up.
Or if you want, there's teams that are already existing. If you're like, well, my friend's on so and so team, I'd like to give them $100 or whatever.
There you go, and you can look their team up there.
Yeah, and that way you can
team name. Just put a team name in there, and it'll go right to
support. And I'm sure your friends would love you to support them because that it's kind of and this part of the fun is they get a little competitive, and my team raised more money than your team, and it's all in fun.
And that's true. We do. It's a fun competition.
Absolutely.
And we cheer each other on. Oh, you got another 100. Oh, right.
Because at the end of the day, we all win. Because it's all money going to end Alzheimer's here.
That's right.
And find the cure. And as we talk about each time that Don's on here talking about this, we're close. We're so close that I feel like in our lifetimes, Don and I's lifetime.
Yeah,
you know, folks that are
there.
you know a little longer in the tooth are going to see that first person that is reversing the symptoms of Alzheimer's and being cured of the disease here.
And I'm hoping it happens because I think I'm coming up to that point.
Getting there. Well, I mean, and like whatever happens after that, whether it's a vaccination you take like a kid for like polio or any other thing, and so they don't get Alzheimer's or dementia, whatever that is, whatever the end game is, you know, that's what we're working towards. That's the progress is to we would love to make Alzheimer's sound like polio. I mean, when's the last time you know someone had polio?
Yeah.
I mean, in all fairness, I mean, we've pretty much eradicated. I mean, I'm sure a few third world countries and few isolated, but for the most part, you know, something that was an epidemic is now, you know,
we want to see that gone.
Alzheimer's, same thing.
Yep.
So how do we do that? We do it by raising a ton of cash, and that's what's been going on. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to say one of the major reasons that 30 years ago, you know, you get hit with a Alzheimer's or dementia diagnosis, it was months. You know, sometimes you're going downhill shortly thereafter. Thanks to these walks and to research and to things, the medicines to prolong the quality of life for people diagnosed with these illnesses is night and day different than it was 20, 30 years ago. People can live years with relatively normal quality of life on some of the medicines and things before they're starting to see the real decline that ultimately happens with these diseases.
We are seeing people who live with Alzheimer's from diagnosis till they terminate, and they're lasting 20 plus years.
That's amazing. That we
it
had
is.
That. You know, that was on you. If you got 20 months, that was a blessing.
Right. Yeah.
Now we're talking.
It was a death sentence.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're at, and so we're so close to moving this needle to where we're saying, hey, this person is diagnosed, and it's not going to end their life.
That's right. We call that the white flower.
We're looking for the first white flower here.
That's right.
And that's part of the and here in November when the event does take place, we'd love to see a sea of people wearing their purple shirts and kind of supporting. But the event is in and of itself. Yes, we're raising the money. That's the heavy work. But the actual day of the event, it's a whole lot of. It's the walk part.
That's right.
The garden. We honor those that have lost the battle. We cheer and celebrate those that are fighting the battle, and we all are looking for that first white flower to say this person has beaten,
out of it. Yep.
Beaten this thing, and so that's really what that day event and as we get closer, we're going to talk more about that right now. But in the early stages, it's time to if you're impacted or if this hits you a certain way, which I'm going to I know Don is, and I'm going to take a stab to almost all the other volunteers have a similar story to their own personal experiences.
I can only think of one of our committee volunteers who does not have somebody that they know has had Alzheimer's.
That's pretty rare. Most have been impacted directly, and so we would love to, if you support this, or maybe you do have. I lost my brother, my sister, my mother, my father, whoever was to this, my wife, whoever that was, husband. It's please come and you understand the heart, and this is the other side of the Alzheimer's Association. Yes, we're talking about raising money and curing the thing, but also in between all that is when the diagnosis comes. What happens next? Where do I turn to? I don't know a thing about this. The Alzheimer's Association, that's what they're there to support. Families that are hitting with these new diagnoses or navigating this stuff. How can we help you manage through that? And this is the good part about most of the volunteers have personal first-hand experience on these things.
Right.
That's a wealth of knowledge to help you. And we say this 100 times. Unfortunately, when we talk about Alzheimer's and dementia and these types of issues, the family is generally dealing with the harder realities of this disease than the actual patient is. And so they understand that this disease is one of the, all diseases affect families, but this one is way more invasive than
very much so.
Even a cancer or something like that.
And the worst of it is it's not just the person who has the Alzheimer's, it's those who have to take care of that person.
Because you're seeing things you've never saw in a person you've known a long time.
It's really, it really hurts to see this person that you love so
And
much.
You don't understand
Yeah.
but it's not them.
And if you need
it's
that
the
help,
disease.
call. If you go online, alz.org, and you can look up online all of these different things. But if you can't get online, dial an 800 number.
Okay.
272-3900.
Okay.
Again, 272-3900, and it's an 800 number.
Okay.
And that's alzheimers.org.
And they'll get you kind of to
Or,
resources and information local.
They'll get you everything you need.
Yeah, and that I'm hoping that, if there's families listening and they're recently getting these diagnoses with a loved one or something like this, please reach out to the Alzheimer's Association. I know you're getting it's an overwhelming situation when these things hit your family, and people can get lost, people can get overwhelmed, and what we want to say is, you know what, you got hit with a pretty bad deck of cards here.
Right.
But we've been there. We know what you're going through. Let us help you navigate this process. And who knows? Maybe you're part of the first White Star group. Maybe this is the one where they start treating the medicines, and guess what? Maybe you're the one at the wall that walked in Alzheimer's carrying that white flower for your loved one is carrying that white flower.
We'd like to see that.
That's what we're hoping here. So, but please reach out. That's what they do. They're here to help people navigate through this. And by golly, if you're healthcare and needing more information on this stuff, reach out to the Alzheimer's Association. Let them help, get you in touch with the people so you can get the proper training and proper stuff to your medical folks on how to deal with some of this stuff.
Another resource here, Wendy Cook is the local walk manager.
Okay.
And try to go through the alz.org or through that phone number.
Right.
Alzheimer's, that 800 number.
But if you have issues.
3900. But if you just need something right away,
sure.
I'm sure Wendy won't mind. It's easier.
She'll let it down if you.
Yeah, right. It's easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Exactly, sometimes.
But she's got a 505 number, 317-0978, and she would love to talk to you and help you out.
And if you do use Facebook and all that, there is a Alzheimer's Association. I believe you type Alzheimer's Association, Chavez County, something to that effect. It should pop right up. You can like and follow there, and you can shoot messages through there, and Wendy and Don and all the other folks that monitor that page will be able to reach out and do all that.
And we're going to be out at the Rusty K Soccer Complex this year.
Hopefully everything will be up and ready for I know they ain't playing soccer out there yet, but hopefully
they will be playing soccer, but we've got this separated a little bit so we can still do our walk around the soccer complex.
While they're doing, of course, for folks that don't know, that area's still dealing with the impacts of flood damage and all that over there. So that's kind of why unfortunately you ain't seen a lot of soccer games or anything over there, because you don't realize, you think, wow, just a field and some and to be honest, the walls and the bathrooms and stuff, I think they just redid those, and then the flood hit. Now they got to redo them again.
Yep.
But the field in of itself absorbed so much water. They had all kinds of slit mud and everything they had to get. You'd think a field wouldn't that, but a lot more damage you realize in some of that stuff.
Yeah,
but anyway,
it's coming around.
Yeah.
So I went by there the other day, and it actually looks pretty good. Considering.
What it was.
The flood that we went through there.
But that'll be, so this year's will be, what's the
November 1st.
1st, and it'll be at the Rusty K Soccer Complex. Right. Start putting your teams together now, the alz.org, to go to that website and start signing your teams up and start getting, it's a lot of fun too. That's the part thing.
It is.
You get come and meet some people and you have fun.
And you see all kinds of tables out there with people doing things, and you get to sign in and say hi, and you'll see a lot of people and of course,
it's kind of, and it's a catch up. To be honest, it's kind of every year I'm sure there's folks that they probably lives get busy and you go your thing and you haven't seen them all year, and then you see them at the annual Walked In Alzheimer's event.
Say, hey, how you doing?
And you catch up and how you doing and how's family been and you get to it broaden your social circle a little bit too. It's good.
Yep.
If you're looking for a place to get involved, and Alzheimer's is a fine place if you want to volunteer, if you want to even if you just, hey, now let's just put a team together and start doing the walk this year, and we'll start there. Perfect. Let's do that. But
and the Legion will be out there.
Oh yeah, Legion
will
be
out there with the water,
and we hope a few other organizations and social groups and nonprofits consider putting teams together too to be involved in this year's walk. Love to see I don't know, Juana's group over here and an Altrusa group over here
I made some requests with Admiral Beveridge and with Leprino, and asking them to get their teams together and join us.
Yeah, get the Admiral Beveridge, get the Optimist. Let's all put a little team out there, and I'll see what we can do to knock this out. And to be honest, I'm going to take a stab. It's not like cancer where everyone knows. I mean, unfortunately, cancer is just that thing that almost all people have either, if not a direct descendant, someone right close there that have lost their lives to cancer. Alzheimer's is not that prolific, but I guarantee if you don't have an impact directly, someone in your family, either farther distant or someone okay, maybe my great grandfather had it, or or someone like that, or my neighbor's family are dealing with that right.
Yeah, see, I survived cancer, so I know how that goes.
Yeah,
I want to see people surviving Alzheimer's. To me, Alzheimer's is just another type of cancer.
Sure.
It's a cancer that happens in your brain.
Yeah, it's eroding the brain, and it's eroding the quality of life, and unfortunately, everybody ends up in the same place at the end of it.
We do.
That's the thing, and that's what we're trying to end here. We've gotten better. We've gotten the science, the medicine has made it a much more manageable disease to deal with, but it does not cure the disease.
Right.
And that's where we're got to get to. And it's and to be honest, of all the diseases, this is the hardest emotionally on people. This is the one. I mean, cancer's cancer, and no one's going to sit there. Well, that was delightful. I mean, that was awful.
I enjoyed that.
But at the end of the day, most cancer patients aren't. They're with it. They know you. They recognize you. They don't.
Mentally, they're still there.
When
at least I think I am.
See someone that's been a very, very influential part of your life, and they act like they never heard of you before.
Right.
That is hard to deal with emotionally at first until you understand it, and and to me that's the level that this disease hits, that it makes it worse almost than everything else. It's because of that impact that you're like, and I please hope families that are dealing with this stuff remember your family member in their good times. Don't use what the disease did to them as your lasting memory of this person.
No.
And this is, to me, it's hardest with kids. Adults, they understand, but kids that maybe they know grandma or grandpa is dealing with this, and they're too young to understand that grandma or grandpa, they're not being mean to you because it's the disease.
They just don't. Yeah, the disease has corrupted their memories.
Please work with the kids on that. Please make them understand that your loved one is not. They love you. They care about you. They want the best for you. They just have a disease that's not making them think right now.
Yeah,
that's what's going on.
Yeah, it's a rotten disease.
Yeah, but let's all beat it together. Let's have some fun in November. Let's start putting these teams together now. Let's get a little competitive. Throw some gauntlets around. Civic groups. If you all have a rival group, hey, we're signing up a team. How about you guys? I bet we can raise more money.
There you go.
It's the midday optimist versus the noon optimist. Whatever it is, I don't care. Let's have some fun with it. Be good about it. Don't make it, but have some fun with it. And I'd like everyone wearing purple shirts November 1st out here at Rustic K. And next thing you know, we've got tons of money that we can send to the Alzheimer's Association that might just push us over the goal line here.
Yep. You got it.
If you don't mind, Don, remind folks the websites and the numbers one more time that they can get a hold of you.
Okay.
Yeah, so that way you just do a last minute here.
ALZ.org.
Yes, that is
the website. Once you get onto ALZ.org, then you do /Roswell.
Gotcha. ALZ.org/Roswell.
Or go, once you get on there, then you /Roswell, and that'll bring you to the Roswell site.
Okay.
From there, you can search out a local team. If you know somebody that's got a team and you want to help them.
Sure. It's like I don't want to sign a team up,
or
but
join
my friend
your
is.
team or something. From there, you can look that up.
Excellent.
Usually it's by team name. I haven't tried it, but I think you can do it by name.
Okay.
A person's name. you can find them on that way.
And then if not, reach out to your friends. Say, what's your team name? And we'll.
There you go. And look it up. And then again, alz.org. You can find support things that there. They can direct you to who to go look for.
Yeah.
And how to look all of that
And
up.
of course, too, if you are looking for resources,
Yes.
outside of the walk, if you're a family dealing with this, go there as well, and you can reach out to contacts there. There's also that 800 number, Don. Give that.
There's an 800 phone number. It's an 800-272-3900. That's the alz.org phone number.
Okay.
And they can help you there as to who to call. Locally, you can call our local walk manager. Her name is Wendy Cook, and she can be reached at 505-317-0978.
Very good. I'm gonna do a pun for the kids here. Let her cook for you.
There you go. There you go.
They love it when cringy old men use words like that they use. So I'm going to throw that out there. Let her cook for you.
There you go. Yeah.
And of course, if you yourself or your family's dealing with this stuff and you are nearly diagnosed or new to the area and looking for resources, please go to the website, go to the Facebook page, or if you happen to know Don, one of his other hats.
Yeah, flag me down sometime and we can talk about it and see what we can do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we'll get you help.
Good deal. Did we get it all done?
I kind of think so.
All right. For now, that'll cover
now. Until next time.
And of course, if you have any questions, don't reach out to those numbers, and we'll be happy to get that stuff. And of course, if you miss any of it here, call us here, and I'll make sure I get you in touch with Don and all that too. So
So please start your teams, and let's get going.
Absolutely. Well, Don, as always, appreciate the visit.
More teams, the better.
We'll see you next time here. I think next time's the Bitter Lake hat, right?
Bitter Lake on Wednesday.
Yeah, we'll see you Wednesday with Friends of Bitter Lake, and I think next week is the.
Well, the zoos.
Is it all this week?
This week, everything came out on 1 week.
Oh, I got it. Okay, I'll look at
just because of the,
just the way the
calendar
planets align.
works. Yeah. So
very good. Well, thank you, Don, as always. And we'll see you here later this week with a different
Wednesday.
hat.
There you go.
All right, it is 8:46. We're going to pause for news, sports update, your Red Apple financial report, and some commercials to pay for lunch. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
Now for your Pecos Valley news update, I'm Jared Cirillo. A Roswell police officer involved in a shooting late Thursday in the 700 block of West Matthews Street. According to a statement provided by RPD, the officers were conducting a crime suppression detail when they tried to make contact with 38-year-old Daniel Garcia near South Washington and West Summit. 2 detectives turned on their emergency car lights and identified themselves as police. Garcia, a convicted felon, bolted, and then the officers gave chase. However, Garcia, they say, opened fire at the detectives multiple times. One detective returned fire, striking Garcia in the leg. He was captured and taken to a hospital. He is expected to be okay. The New Mexico Department of Health says it's seeing an increase in the number of New Mexicans who have received the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine from February through mid-May compared to the same time frame last year. Between February 1st and May 12th, 27,123 New Mexicans received the MMR vaccine. That's roughly twice the number of residents who got the shot during that same time period last year. You're up to date. I'm Jared Cirillo.
It's time for the Chavez County Sports Report. Big congratulations go out to the NMMI Colts baseball team, Class 3A state champs over the weekend, defeating a couple of squads from Las Vegas on Friday, beating West Las Vegas 12-6. NMMI, the top seed, West Las Vegas, the 5th seed. Constantino Scopolitis, 3 for 5 with a double and 4 RBIs in that game. Winning pitcher Javier Yepes Galindo, 6 innings worked, 10 strikeouts, and he was 2 for 3 at the plate with a double. And then on Saturday, NMMI beats Robertson for the title, 7-1. Nicholas Barcelo Terran, Jr. for the Colts, 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Scopolitas, 2 for 4 with 2 ribbies. And Tegan Maloney, the winning pitcher, 7 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts. Congratulations. First title since 2022, fourth title overall for the Colts. The Sports Report brought to you by DSI. Call DSI for all your office technology needs. I'm Eric Butler at Roswell's Talk FM 106.5.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty windy today. We have a front moving through the area. Could get a few gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Watch out for some blowing dust. We'll have sunshine, afternoon highs in the low to mid 80s. For the overnight hours, still windy. It'll be clear, though, and our low in the low 50s. The wind will calm down on Tuesday. It will be sunny, our afternoon high in the mid 80s, sunny and warmer Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
All across America, this is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
The S&P 500 will open the new week positive for the year. After a good week for stocks, the S&P was up 5% last week. The Nasdaq rose more than 6% last week. The Dow was up 3% for the week. Rising stocks included Dell and Adobe, Nvidia, Meta, Microsoft, and Apple. Declining stocks Friday included First Solar, Hershey, and Starbucks, down again, and MGM Resorts fell. Airlines and hotels are forecasting a slow summer vacation season. Consumer confidence fell to the second lowest level on record because of people's concerns about how much tariffs will increase prices. Ending taxes on Social Security payments may now become a $4,000 tax deduction for recipients below a certain income level, because a deduction would cost the government much less than eliminating taxes on Social Security when Congress is trying to pay to extend tax cuts and reduce deficits. And some business owners say the tariffs on China are not really down to 30% for 90 days. They can still be closer to 40 to 70% because of older tariffs that were already stacked in. With business, I'm Joe Connolly.
This is the Red Apple Audio Network's Market Report.
This is Judge Janine Pirro with an important message. A mom and her son were being followed by a man in a parking lot. As he approached their car, she pulled out her Byrna launcher, and the sight of it was enough to make him flee. Byrna gives you the power to protect your family without lethal force. No permits, no background checks, just peace of mind. Visit Byrna.com and use code Janine for 10% off. Remember, Byrna isn't legal in New York City or Yonkers. Stay safe. Stay prepared with Byrna.
Some wounds need expert care to heal properly. At Artesia General Hospital's Wound Care and Hyperbaric Medicine Center, we use advanced treatments like hyperbaric oxygen therapy to help chronic wounds heal faster. If you or a loved one has a wound that won't heal, call 575-736-8235 today and take the first step toward recovery.
If you're missing a tooth or several teeth, a dental implant may be the ultimate solution. Implants look and feel so much like real teeth that you probably forget you have an implant. Maupin and Brown Dentistry is one of New Mexico's most experienced implant providers, with literally thousands of implant patients who are absolutely delighted with the results. Call Maupin and Brown today for an evaluation. You'll be surprised how affordable implants can be. Maupin and Brown, your choice for experienced, state-of-the-art dentistry.
Spring has sprung, so it's time to move on into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop in Roswell. Now the Cow is an authorized handy quilter long-arm dealer. Spring fabrics are here and summer fabrics are arriving daily, plus quilts, shirts, and rope bowls made right here at the Calico Cow. Brother sewing machines with warranties are also on sale. Plus, the Calico Cow can fix and perform maintenance on all brands. Log on to RoswellQuilting.com. Spring into the Calico Cow Fabric and Gift Shop, 200 East College in Roswell. Want to know how? Come see the cow.
Every year, thousands of nursing home and assisted living residents face neglect and mistreatment. But as an ombudsman, you can be a voice for those who often go unheard. And we're looking for volunteers. Ombudsmen advocate for residents' rights and ensure quality care. It's an incredibly fulfilling experience. I know because I am one. Whether you're retired or just starting your career, your dedication and compassion will make a significant impact. Learn about volunteering as an ombudsman today at aging.nm.gov/volunteer. Sponsored by this station and the NMBA.
A Greek-Canadian man invented the Hawaiian pizza. His name was Tex Colorado, and he was from Detroit. Here's Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 8:53. Got a few minutes here before we get you into the top of the hour and the news and all that. A couple things do want to put on your radar here. Let's see. No, that's something we can talk about later. I got a bunch of stuff here. I do want to mention all the graduations, all of the things that for this week for of course Roswell, Goddard, University High, all of those, Artesia High. We will be carrying the graduations for all of those at ksvptv.com in the respective channels. If you're looking for the Goddard graduation, it'll be in the Goddard channel, Roswell, et cetera, et cetera. But we'll have all those there for you. I don't have the schedule in front of me because I don't have to be. But is Goddard's Saturday? Goddard graduation Saturday, Roswell High Friday. Oh,
confirm on that as far as like graduation for Goddard. I think it's Saturday.
Friday at 7.
Okay.
And Goddard is Saturday at 7.
Okay, there you go. And I think one of them's Thursday,
and
right?
Thursday is the university at 7.
Perfect. Thank you. I don't do videos and I don't have kids.
She's our brain.
She has both of those things.
Yep.
So she knows way more about that than I do. Thank you, Jocelyn. But of course, the people that are involved really already know.
Yeah.
Trust me, they know.
Oh, no. They've got that date etched on their calendars, I'm sure.
And then, it's just that year. It's just, everything's going to be crazy and all that. You know what I'm going to be doing this weekend, and this is, I forgot till I got a reminder over this weekend that it was this upcoming weekend, is our banana ball thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, Saturday night. Although it's not the Savannah Bananas.
No, this is the, what is the,
it's
Austin?
Yeah, I'll tell you in a second. But basically what's happened is the Banana Ball League, which is, I think, 6 teams altogether, and they play, I mean, yes, it's the dancing and all that stuff, but they actually keep score and they have standings, and someone is determined a champion at the end of the season. So the games are real. The outcomes are not predetermined.
No.
None of that's happened. The only thing that's different is they do the dances and the walk-up music and all.
It's just more pageantry to your
scoring's a little different. Like every run doesn't count per se.
Which, if you are just coming off the heels of like intense, serious, pay attention to the numbers playoff baseball, it's nice to go into a game of banana ball.
Yeah,
I mean just to have a little bit of frivolity into the situation.
I think, but anyway, that being said, they actually do scores and things. Well, this offseason or this year, they expanded teams to the league, and they have, for the first time, one of the a new team that is not based out of Georgia, like the rest of the teams are. The Savannah Bananas, the Party Animals, the Fire Guys, and whatever the other teams are. They're all home base out of Georgia.
Sure.
Well, this year they added the Texas Tailgaters. I'm not sure if it's Abilene or wherever they're based, but it's in Texas.
In Tejas.
So this weekend, the Banana Ball is coming to Albuquerque, but it's the Texas Tailgaters taking on the Party Animals for games Friday night, Saturday night, and I believe a Sunday matinee as well too. I think.
Nice.
And so we got tickets for the Saturday night affair, and or is it just Saturday, Sunday? But anyway, we're going, and so that's what we're doing this weekend. So it'll be. Yeah. But here's a little different this year: is that we have assigned seats now. See, before it was like sections. You can get the club section, and it was this price. And you get the regular section, and it was this price. But it was kind of like you got in there, and then you had to, running of the bulls to get to seats that are good seats,
just
and
general
lock
admission.
them down and say, "Hey, these are for my
lick it and be like, this is mine."
Yeah. Now it's all assigned, so you don't have to do all that. Allegedly, I'm about to find out this weekend. So, because last time I lucked out, we got the upper. When we tried to get those tickets again, but they weren't available. And so I had a great spot right in the shade, which was very nice on the matinee game. I literally walked 8 feet to find food. It was delightful.
Nice. That's a good spot. Yeah, that's primo.
I was a pretty happy camper. I won't have this time, but at least it'll be assigned seat. So I forgot that's what we're doing this weekend. So we're going to go see some Banana Ball and the Texas Tail, which I was thinking about buying some of their swag. Because why not? Until I realized their jerseys are denim. Ain't no way I'm sitting in a hot, muggy stadium on a late May that's 100. It's supposed to be 100 this weekend up there too.
Does that include the uniforms that they play in?
Yeah, I think so. The uniform.
That's rough.
I'm about to find out. But if you wanted to buy a Texas Tailgaters jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It was denim.
It's not a breathable material.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you ever watch the Banana Ball, they do alter the uniforms. Like half those guys cut off the sleeves, or they'll go shirtless. I mean, ladies, a lot of eye candy at the Banana Ball. Just saying.
They don't call it Banana Ball.
And I guess for fellas,
nothing.
some eye candy but yeah, it is very reminiscent to me of like bikini car washes of our days and things like that. But more dudes playing baseball now. But it's a lot of fun and all that. But yeah, so much shirtless and muscles and run around.
That should be interesting though.
It's a lot of fun. I'd be curious to see what the tailgaters like shtick is.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Banana Ball guy, like they had like the guy on stilts. They had a guy that's, I don't know, I guess he just wanted an identity known. He literally runs around in a motorcycle helmet the whole time.
You know what it reminds me of is the movie Basketball.
Yeah.
All of the teams had like their like thing.
Yeah.
It was like one team was like the Mobsters.
Uh-huh.
And the Texas team.
It's very similar to that.
1, 2, 3. I can't say what they said. But
yeah, you know what? It does have a basketball team grouping kind of thing here. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're going to do that. I'll give you the full report next week when I'm back from all that. We are closing in on 9 o'clock. Stay tuned next hour. We're going to replay our interview we had with Chaves County Manager Bill Williams. He joined us on Friday. We're going to play that for you next hour. You are listening to 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM, KEND, Roswell, New Mexico. We will be back on the other side of news. Don't go away.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. A potential Ukraine ceasefire is the topic as President Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin speak by phone. The call now underway. Following this phone call, Mr. Trump will speak by phone with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. President Trump is urging all congressional Republicans to support a bill, a so-called Big Beautiful Bill, delivering on his campaign promises ranging from tax relief to border security.
The White House is cranking up the pressure on GOP lawmakers to put aside their differences.
It's essential that every Republican in the House and the Senate unites behind President Trump.
However, serious disagreements remain. Fiscal conservatives want deeper spending cuts. Moderates want to protect Medicaid coverage. In addition to extending tax cuts, the bill also proposes big spending increases for border security and defense. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Authorities are working to confirm whether the person who died in Saturday's California fertility clinic bombing is a suspect in the attack.
The FBI believes a 25-year-old man was responsible for the explosion that ripped through the clinic in Palm Springs, California, east of L.A. Guy Edward Bartkus of 29 Palms, California, was identified by the FBI as the suspect. The bombing injured 4 people and shattered windows of nearby buildings. The suspect's writings, which authorities describe as nihilistic, include comments that people should not be allowed to continue to procreate. The explosion gutted the American Reproductive Center's clinic, damaging the office space, but not the stored embryos. George Williams reporting.
President Trump and the First Lady say they are saddened to learn of former President Biden's prostate cancer diagnosis. Mr. Trump writing on Truth Social, "We wish Joe a fast and successful recovery." On Wall Street, the Dow down 45 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals, too.
Call 866-755-5300. That's 866-755-5300. Again, that's 866-755-5300. Call us right now.
Official summit since Brexit.
It's nearly 9 years since Britain voted to leave the EU, causing bad feeling on both sides.
But now both the Labour government and Brussels are keen on patching things up, especially in the light of President Trump's unpredictability. So expect some progress on trade, agriculture and travel, and on a formal security partnership. But despite the likely warm words, the relationship will remain distant, given Labour's red lines on not rejoining the EU single market or customs union, and the Europeans' continuing view that Brexit's principally Britain's problem, not theirs.
And that's BBC's Rob Watson. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is acknowledging that his decision to resume limited aid to Gaza came as a result of pressure from some of Israel's allies. Townhall.com. The latest images from the Webb Space Telescope are offering a breathtaking display above Jupiter.
On Earth, perhaps our most spectacular celestial sights are the northern lights. Now imagine that on Jupiter, a planet some 1,300 times the size of Earth. Images from the James Webb Space Telescope reveal dazzling auroras on Jupiter scientists say are hundreds of times brighter than those we see in our atmosphere. Webb's previously captured the auroras glowing around Neptune. Ben Thomas, Washington.
More severe storms may be rolling across the central U.S. this week, following weather-related deaths of more than 24 people. Kentucky and Missouri have been especially hard hit by severe weather, including tornadoes. Commuters are rejoicing. New Jersey transit trains resume operations first thing tomorrow morning, engineers ending their 3-day strike. More on these stories at townhall.com.
What in the wide world of sports is going on here?
I promise you, whatever scum did this, not one man in this force will rest for 1 minute until he's behind bars. Now let's grab a bite to eat. Yeah, come on.
I feel the hot wind on my shoulder and the touch of a world that is older. I hit the switch and check the number. I leave it on and then I slumber. I hear the rhythm ringing through it. Flamenco guitar and cumbia music. I hear the talking of the DJ. The travel said, what does he say? I'm on a Mexican radio. I'm on a Mexican radio.
Broadcasting live from high atop the J.P. White Building in downtown Roswell, New Mexico. It's Mornings with Mike Winters on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM.
Is that what I sound like when I talk?
Now, here's your host, Mike Winters.
And good morning. It is 6 minutes after 9 o'clock. Welcome. And I do mean welcome. To hour number 3.
Trace Inviernos.
Of Mornings with Mike Winters, right here on 106.5 Roswell's Talk FM. Happy Monday.
Yes.
I know it's Monday. It's like Monday. But it's like the last week of school Monday. Graduation this week. It's like a different kind of Monday.
It's a lot less Monday than Monday should or is usually.
Yeah, it's a anticipated Monday.
Mm-hmm. It's like the anti-Rob, not Rob Thomas, Rob Zombie. It's less Monday than Monday.
There you go. Garfield would approve of this Monday.
not Rob Thomas. Although it is going to be a hot one.
As opposed to Dave Thomas, who has the burger.
And the hot daughter.
Imagine if Rob Thomas founded Wendy. Dave Thomas started a rock band.
I mean,
how different would life be?
Because you've now said it, I feel like there's a universe in which those two things happen simultaneously. That's one of those things about multiverse theory. It's like you can sit around and just come up with ideas of things, and then that's a universe. That's a universe. You're just creating them. Just boom, boom, boom.
There you go.
That exists now.
I'm sure there is a AI video of Dave Thomas as a rock star.
And yet somehow Dave Matthews still dumped a bunch of dookie into the river off his tour bus.
I know there's some Dave Matthews fans out there. My opinion, that's his best work. The day he emptied his toilet on his bus into the river. That was his best work.
It is funny how that's pretty much the one big thing that band is known for. Like they have like ants marching, a few hits.
Well, you kind of were a bit young in their heyday.
DMB?
I mean, like you were youth as in, were still like teenage.
Yeah, it wasn't my wheelhouse for sure.
What I will tell you is, if you are a woman in your 20s, they all had Dave Matthews playing. Every one of them. And, oh, he's so good, and so this, and so dudes had to like Dave Matthews and any remote chance of getting girlfriends.
I've had a few friends that told me that. They're like, yeah, no, I got into a lot of bands because it was what the girls were listening to.
Yeah. Dave Matthews is relevant or had a relevancy because women seem to like that guy.
It's the entire reason bands like Third Eye Blind or Sugar Ray even had a half-life was because of, that's the music that the girls listen to.
What's the guitarist, the one that he was in the movie Get Hard with where he presents a guitar to Will Ferrell?
Yeah.
What is that guy's name? He's another one that's Dave Matthews adjacent like that. Where I can't remember his name. As soon as you say it, I'll know it, but it's just not hitting me right now. And the first thing I think of is him doing Get Hard, giving the guitar.
Wow. You got to be careful when you Google that. John Mayer.
John Mayer. Thank you. That name could not come to mind. That guy's another Dave Matthews. He's Dave Matthews of the 2000s.
Yeah. John Mayer's a tough one because John Mayer's one of those that's like, he's the hot guy that like all the famous girls that we were attracted to as a kid swoon towards. But at the same time, for as long as I've known John Mayer, he's been known for, that dude makes weird faces when he sings.
Yeah.
Like if you've ever watched him sing, he looks like he's gasping for air.
Yeah. I grew up with Eddie Vedder. All that, none of that matters. I mean, when you watch Pearl Jam sing, all else is second place.
I will say, John Mayer is a part of one of my favorite Chappelle Show sketches.
This is the thing about John Mayer. That's the difference between him and Dave Matthews. Dave Matthews, I don't think is liked in certain
He takes
circles.
himself too seriously.
Where John Mayer's like everybody's butt.
Like, I'm an artist.
He rolls into comedy. Like, he was... they did a whole tribute to, was it Sakic? I think it was when he died. Or what's his name?
Satriani?
No.
Satch's still alive.
Bob Saget.
Oh, Saget.
Not Sakic.
Okay.
Saget. That's what I was thinking. When Saget died.
Yeah.
Like, they did a whole tribute, and John Mayer was all over that thing. Like, part of the boys there and all that. So I think he literally is part of the boys. That's the difference between him and Dave. But music-wise, same.
It's the sketch, though, from the Chappelle Show, and this is why I appreciate him, is Dave Chappelle was trying to point out that there's one song that no matter what's happening, whether you're angry, whether you're, upset at each other, unites all white people.
Okay.
And that song, every rose has its thorn. And it's John Mayer at the end playing. Basically, John Mayer's following around playing different things. Like, if you want to incite violence in white people, you need to hit an electric guitar riff. Versus if you want to bring an office full of, a barber shop together, you have to like have some kind of sick beat.
So,
and
that's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, it was stereotypes in music, but yeah, the fact that every rose has its thorn is the one song that unites white people.
Well, I tell you, my wife, that's like the one song she can play on her guitar, isn't it? And every time it comes on, like I've been to countless Bret Michael events because of that song. So yes, I know it.
And successfully ducked your way out of another one.
I've ducked out of one here and later in the month or later in the summer.
Yeah.
My wife is going. I am not. She's taking my niece, her niece as well.
Yeah. My kid's mom's gonna be there. She's all excited about it.
Good for them. I've done my time. I've been to several Def Leppard concerts. I'm good. I'm not a fan of Def Leppard. I don't need to go to that many Def Leppard concerts.
Joe Elliott ends every single one of his concerts with one simple phrase. And I now view it more as a threat than a promise. And that is, until next time, and there will be a next time.
Right.
He's always into this show like
I feel like certain bands like Def Leppard, they've got the same like 100,000 people just buying the tickets over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's their tour circuit.
I know, but unfortunately my wife is in there. So I apologize. Def Leppard's still in existence because of people like my wife who keep buying the same things over and over.
What astonishes me though is there's bands like your Def Leppards that are still doing stadium shows.
Yeah,
and then there's like bands that almost made it as big.
Yeah,
that are doing state fairs.
Yeah, and that's a weird thing because. You know what one got me just recently on that one? And maybe it's just because of my age, and maybe that's why it feels this way. But I saw a commercial here recently that Sheryl Crow is going to do a big concert at one of the casinos in New Mexico. And I'm like, Sheryl Crow? I felt like her status as a star hit too big for the casino circuit.
Well, it was
and
for
then
a
again,
minute.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It was for a minute. But like when certain people hit that status, like when you hit that status, never again can you go.
Yeah.
Like when you hit like iconic like Michael, maybe not quite Michael Jackson, but of that ilk.
Yeah.
I think Sheryl Crow was there at one point. Like she could, she was it when it comes to female vocalists in that certain genre. She was she was the Wayne Gretzky of that.
Right.
Or the Joe Montana. And so for me, and where I knew her, I'm kind of like, wow, the casino seems a ways down. Now, granted, I don't think she's done work in a minute. I ain't seen a Sheryl Crow thing in 100 years.
And also, and this is something I learned from a Patton Oswalt stand-up special.
Yeah.
Casinos, he said, they didn't offer me an ungodly amount of money. They didn't offer me an obscene amount of money. They offered me a profane amount of money
That's the
to
thing
come.
too. But I almost can see stand-up comics. I don't know. It feels like the venue's more suited for them.
It's one of those that it's more adaptable. I will say that because, like Fluffy, for example, Gabriel Iglesias, he's able to just as easily do a show at In the Mountain Gods as he is to do a show at the Ryman. Some massive
right.
auditorium.
And comedians are like that.
Right.
Musicians, where artists aren't so much.
And I think a lot of it comes down to representation too, because if you have a really decent agent and they're still putting in your head that you're worthy of a stadium show,
right?
You're going to still sell out stadiums.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I mean, it's just the Sheryl Crow was one that just like, she seems too big for casino show stuff. Like when they show me Warrant and Winger and all those bands, I'm like, oh, of course, yes. If you want to see White Snake or Great White, the casino is your friend.
See, but that's just it. Like Great White was a big deal for a quick minute.
Yeah, but
same thing with Warrants. Winger,
right,
not so much. But
here's the thing about those bands, and I can't go on to because I got to get an interview in. But like all those bands went the way of the dodo the moment grunge hit. Like they were uber popular to uber. Like you were a fool if you're listening to this, and that's one of the few genres of music that's had that. Like rock, I'm not talking rock in general. I'm talking hair band, the you name it, Slaughter, Winger, Poison, you name it. All of those are the same ilk. Rat.
Right.
Every one of those, they hit that as soon as Teen Spirit came out and started the grunge era. Those guys, the only ones that survived were your Metallicas, your Slayers, your hard metal bands.
Sure. And the ones that were willing to cut their hair and start doing softer rock, i.e. Def Leppard. If you look at any of their 90s stuff, it's a pretty tough listen, man.
Well, and here's the thing. I don't think it was relevant. Like I'm telling you right now, I have no ideas of numbers or any of that stuff. You look at Def Leppard's album sales of their 80s albums versus their 90s albums, it's not even close.
100. Well, because you've got Pyromania, you've got,
the classics that is,
Hysteria. You've got the albums that were the hits.
Yeah.
90s, it was like, I think they did a couple like vaults with a few new songs. And there's like one or two albums.
I'm telling you, between the two things killed Def Leppard and their superstar status.
Well, I mean,
one is grunge, and the next is that Let's Get Rock song.
I was going to say that dude losing his arm was super helpful.
Actually, no, but
that actually kind of.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say their big commercially most successful album was that Hysteria album.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And that was that the debut of the One Armed Them, or was one album before that?
Yeah, no,
I don't remember.
I believe it happened right before Hysteria came out.
I had to ask your wife, or my wife. They're the experts.
Yeah.
But I feel like that album with Pour Some Sugar, all the hits that everyone still sings this day. Pyromania is probably their best album, but most of those don't get radio play like the Hysteria and Once Bit and all those. Love Bites, all those.
I love your disdain for Let's Get Rock. That's
that song is just.
Well, what's funny is the video is the worst part of that whole song.
I was mad. Like that was the moment I said Def Leppard's not cool no more. Like I was kind of like, all right, ladies seem to love this thing, so I can get behind this vibe. And then Tidy Your Room, No Way, Dad. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just what happened. That's when I said this band is no longer for me.
All right. Once we get off the air, once you hit the weather, I'm going to teach you a new way to enjoy that song because I had to learn. So I'm gonna help you out a little bit. All right.
To this day, that's like just an average. Shut up, ordinary bitch. Out of here.
I used to get yelled at for doing things like this, but it helps you get through.
All right, we're going to play our interview we had with Chaffetz County Manager Bill Williams here. Let's do this. We're going to take a weather update and a commercial update, and on the other side, we'll bring you the Bill Williams interview. Don't go away. You're listening to Mornings with Mike Winters.
I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton with your Pecos Valley weather. Pretty windy today. We have a front moving through the area. Could get a few gusts up to 40 miles an hour. Watch out for some blowing dust. We'll have sunshine, afternoon highs in the low to mid 80s. For the overnight hours, still windy. It'll be clear though, and our low in the low 50s. The wind will calm down on Tuesday. It will be sunny. Our afternoon high in the mid 80s. Sunny and warmer Wednesday. I'm meteorologist Steve Hamilton, and that's your latest forecast.
Hi everyone, this is Melanie from Glenn's Furniture. When was the last time you looked forward to sleep? Let's be honest here, you know a restful night's sleep has more health benefits than you consciously think about during the day. Here at Glenn's, we carry Serta mattresses, and they've been in the business for more than 90 years. Choosing one can be hard, but I want you to know we have your back. Come see us at Glenn's on the corner of Union and Alameda in Roswell, where delivery is free since 1953.
Do you want to improve the appearance of your smile or increase your self-esteem and confidence? Many people have already chosen to update their smile with veneers. Here at Carabelli Dental in Roswell, we work with our patients to understand their smile goals. With veneer treatment, we can eliminate gaps between teeth, solve the problems of stained teeth, and even perfect uneven or misshaped teeth. You owe it to yourself to have the smile you know is possible. Call us now.
Come see the team at Carabelli Dental or call 575-622-4455.
Hey, Roswell, during these unprecedented times when others are raising prices, Roswell Ford is lowering ours with employee pricing for everyone. So you pay what we pay. Only at Roswell Ford. Make no payments for 90 days. Upside down in your current vehicle and want out early? Roswell Ford can help you get out of your trade, even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, regardless of make, miles, or condition. So you can pay what we pay today with employee pricing to all customers on new Ford cars, trucks, and SUVs. And our aggressive finance team will push to approve your credit, even if it's less than perfect. Attention business owners, Roswell Ford has a great selection of commercial vehicles, and we have them for less. Plus, Roswell Ford offers mobile services, so our certified technicians will come to you and perform oil changes, tire rotations, batteries, recalls, and more. Contact us for details. For massive American-made savings and employee pricing for everyone. Get on board at Roswell Ford, 821 North Main Street in beautiful Roswell. Call 575-623-3673 or online at roswellford.com. Interest accrues from date of sale on select vehicles. Trade balance refinanced to new loan subject to lender approval. Offers not combined. Expires in 1 cent.
At Martine's Capital Cafe, come in and enjoy a delicious variety for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Try our burritos, huevos rancheros, asado, chorizo, sausage, flantas, fajitas, chili rellenos, quesadillas, enchiladas, sopapillas, and don't forget their award-winning green chili cheeseburger and so much more. Everything is prepared with the finest and freshest ingredients. Martine's Capital Cafe. Quality, value, tradition, and the most delicious New Mexican food since 1989. Open Monday through Saturday from 6 to 8:30 p.m. at 110 West 4th Street in Roswell.
Get ready for a jungle adventure. SunQuest Rainforest, June 2nd through 6th from 9 to 11:30. Follow Jesus on a life-changing adventure with amazing stories, fun games, yummy snacks, and more, including a free t-shirt and lunch every day. And a special presentation Wednesday night and in the Music Center on Thursday. Registration is free and is now open at ccrcoc.com. SunQuest Rainforest, June 2nd through the 6th from 9 to 11:30 at Country Club Road, Church of Christ, on the corner of Country Club Road and Washington Avenue in Roswell.
It's possible to turn peanut butter into diamonds. Peter Pan tried it with his buddy Skippy, but they couldn't do it in a jiff. Here's Mike Winters.
8 o'clock, and joining us in studio this morning, Chaffetz County Manager Bill Williams back with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good seeing you. How's life in your world this morning?
Everything's going pretty good. I stayed up later than usual. I was up to almost midnight last night, so I'm wiped out.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's been a while since I stayed up till midnight.
Yeah, I hear you. I you know, it's funny because I was kind of a night owl in my younger days, and even to Friday, Saturday nights, I'm like, oh, I'm going to stay up till late watching TV or whatever. My wife usually crashes out at 9. And in my earlier days, yeah, I'd be doing. Now, Friday nights, I'm like 10 o'clock. I'm like, oh. And I'm like, I'm going to try to stay at 11. I'm going to try really hard. But it just, unless there's something really, really good on TV, I'm usually trying to stay awake at about 10 o'clock on weekends now.
Yeah, it's usually, I'm going to stay awake till 9.
Yeah.
You know,
9's my normal.
I remember my dad, no matter what, company over or whatever, 9 o'clock, it's bedtime. He'd get up and walk out of the room and leave. And
Well, that's kind of my father-in-law. And he's a retired CPA. And even to this day, and he's been retired for years. I mean, he still does a little bit, but he's a retired person. He's off traveling. He spends his time on ships and you know what I mean. But anyway, to this day, that man still goes to bed at like 7:30, 8 o'clock and gets up at like 2:33 in the morning every single day still. Yeah. That's just his thing. Because he'd usually get up that early and then he'd work on his tax returns and everything else.
Well, you know, I work in an office now, and so I don't go to work till 8 o'clock, but I still get up at 5 o'clock every morning.
Yeah.
Throw back to the rest of my life where I had to be at work early.
It's as a person that does spend a lot of time, you know, you get up, get the shower, out the door, you know. It is kind of nice when you can sit down and maybe have a beverage and catch a little news or something to kind of step into your day. So, but yeah, you got to get up early to do that. And I'm like, all right. I already get up early enough. Do I want to get up earlier just to do that, if I had a job where I could be a little in later, I probably would do that myself. But now I'm literally I roll out of bed, roll to the bathroom, the shower up, and roll out the door.
Well, you were telling me before the show started that you got here at like 6:15 yesterday, went home at 9:30 last night.
Yesterday was a bit of a long day.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. Well, every once in a while, come to playoff time. Today won't be as bad. If all goes according to plan, I should be out of here about 6:30 tonight.
Well,
that's not so bad.
Well, we had an interesting county commission meeting yesterday.
Interesting, good?
Well, it wasn't bad. It was just
interesting,
different than anything I've ever seen.
Things that make you go,
So we got a call about a month ago that one of our lobbyists in Washington was working to put together a fly-in for SRS, which is Secure Rural Schools funding. So that goes to forested counties.
Okay.
And so the receipts they make off timber harvest, grazing, those kind of things go back to a piece of it goes back to the counties that the forests are in. Well, you know, Chaves County being a heavily forested
I was about to say, I was like, one thing we're known for is our woods.
Our county receives about $34,000 a year from the federal government.
Is there part of the Lincoln National Forest that technically goes into Chaves
a little
County?
piece of it, just a not very big at all, but there is a postage stamp size piece in the county. So $34,000 comes to the county, and so there is more to this story because people are going to say you flew to Washington for, so we got a call about a month ago, and so we're going to have a fly-in trying to assure that the SRS funding gets funded.
Gotcha.
And it looks maybe promising that it will be funded for the next 4 years.
Okay.
But anyway, they called and said, hey, we really need some representation from New Mexico. You guys are some of our most up to speed on this stuff. And so they asked me to see if we could get one of our commissioners to go.
Gotcha.
So I called the chairman, and he's, you know, it's his commission, so it's certainly his choice who goes. And he says, well, you know, I'm going to go, and we'll get Michael Perry to go. And so Commissioner Taylor and Michael Perry flew off to Washington to do that. Now let me give you the backstory on the $34,000. What happens with SRS, because it has a prior requirement to be paid to the counties and across the U.S. So if they do not fund SRS, they reach into the pocket of PILT, which is payment in lieu of taxes. They reach in there, grab a handful of money, and they spread that around.
So basically, if we don't fight for this, they're going to rob Peter to pay Paul here.
Exactly. And when they rob Paul, we're in trouble. I mean, it certainly makes a bigger difference.
Sure.
To us. So they make all these other counties whole, and you know, places in Oregon and Washington, Idaho, you know, have lots of forested areas. Even other areas in New Mexico, you know, that works good for them because they are always made whole. But when they reach into the payment in lieu of taxes, the PILT pocket, areas
there's
like
a reason
us,
for that, and it needs that too.
Areas like us that have a lot of BLM land, you know, leftover government lands that we get a small amount of pay for. We don't get that much for those anyway in lieu of property taxes, but we do get a little bit.
But we need whatever we get from it.
Last time that happened, we lost 8% of our PILT payment.
Wow.
So
we're trying to protect other funds by signing up.
Exactly.
And
so Travis County gets $34,000 for SRS, but we get $4 million for PILT. So we stand to lose if it stays at 8% loss, $320,000. So we're definitely going to fight for that $34,000.
Absolutely, it's not. And plus, too, this is also part of that thing where, a lot of times when we talk about especially BLM issues and things like that, counties rally. Right. Eddie, Lincoln, Lee, Chavez, we're all, usually on the same fight here together.
Right.
And at the end of the day, yes, 34 for us, but I'm going to take a stab. Lincoln County's got a much bigger cut than that.
Oh, on SRS.
And so that would be a bigger impact. So even if it's just 30 for us, there's also the thing is, look, when it's bigger for us, they're supporting us. We need to support them, kind of thing. And that's so there is that.
Otero and Lincoln are both huge in the Lincoln National Forest.
Yeah.
We have, like I said, tiny piece in Chaves County, a tiny piece in Eddie
and both
County.
huge in fighting in other battles that we share common interest in.
But it's funny that you mentioned the other counties because Chaves County as far as I know, we were the only county from New Mexico that attended this SRS fly-in. But we also got a call from cattle growers. They're there today, actually, and they're fighting the National Interest Electric Transmission Corridors. And they said, we need some representation.
Which we've talked about a few times.
Yes, we've talked about it quite a bit.
Yeah.
1.8 million acres, little north of that, in 8 counties in New Mexico. Chaves County only has 70,000 acres potentially.
We don't want to get in the devil in detail, but look it up, and the potential for a lot of issues that you're going to lose some rights is all I'm saying if this thing flies through. That's what we're talking about.
Issue. And so anyway, they called, said, we're going to be in Washington. We need some representation. So there's several counties involved in that. Roosevelt County's up there, Otero County's there, Chaves County is there. And so anyway, they called and said, hey, we need somebody to be there. So, well, that's when our commission meeting happens, but let me see what I can do. So we agreed Michael Perry would stay over. So Michael and the chairman went for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. And the chairman flew back on Wednesday so he could be here for the commission meeting on Thursday.
Okay.
Michael stayed over for the other meetings that they were having on Capitol Hill, the lobbying efforts going in to stop the transmission corridor.
Right.
In the meantime, another entity that we work with on a variety of issues, they're on Capitol Hill fighting to reform the Endangered Species Act because that's been weaponized so much over the last 50 years.
That's a 4-letter word around here.
And so they called and said, Michael Perry, you're a retired game and fish guy. Worked in the state land office as the assistant state land office.
So this is the blessing and the curse of wearing many hats.
So they said, we would really like you to join us in some of these lobbying efforts with your perspective as a game and fish guy, because you can certainly speak to a different part of it than the rest of us.
You have an expertise there that others don't. Yeah.
So Michael's been extremely busy. He won't be coming back until tomorrow. So Commissioner Perry will be coming back on Saturday.
But it sounds like he's fighting the good fight at every
week.
one of these here. So yeah.
Now the interesting twist for our county commission meeting was that anytime you fly into Dallas, there's a pretty good likelihood that you're going to be delayed.
What? No way.
So
in this day and age,
we were concerned about that. As it turns out, Dallas did and didn't cause our chairman not to be available for the meeting. The actual problem was when they flew back east Monday, I think it was, there was a lot of storms and mass flooding and stuff in Maryland. And
there was a lot of delays across the board.
So they had some bad weather there. So when he got ready to come back on Wednesday, the plane was like 30 minutes late, and then they sat out on the tarmac, moving from one runway to the other, deciding which direction to launch into the wind. Probably had to fly around the storm.
Yeah.
By the time they got to Dallas, there's not a lot of flights coming to Roswell.
Sure, it's a very limited.
So he missed that. So yesterday morning, he phoned in while he was waiting to get on his plane to come to Roswell.
Well, as long as he did get on the plane, they had to shut down.
and he did manage to stay for nearly the entire meeting.
Nice.
I cannot imagine being in an airport and doing that. But what he did is he said, I'm going to appoint Commissioner Dana as the chairman pro tem. That way please run the meeting for me. And he was there.
So
to
when the
vote.
flight attendant kicks him off the phone, we can still continue.
Well, at the very end, when we got to the approval of checks and stuff, he said, "We're boarding the plane.
Right.
I've got to go." But he managed to make it through all of the agenda items.
I'm not gonna lie.
And-
Secretly, I would have loved to hear the stewardess you need to turn it off now. No, wait one more minute. No, right now. I would have loved that dialogue. That would have been fun.
Put it in the overhead
Right.
bin. Yeah. So that was an interesting little twist, and he did a great job. There's just a little bit of a delay when you phone in. I don't know how many milliseconds it is
Yeah.
or whatever, but sometimes it might be 10 seconds or so,
Yeah.
and so it would be entirely impossible to run a meeting.
You have to treat it like a walkie-talkie and say over every time you're done.
Yeah, exactly, and wait for the response. And so the chairman did a real good job of passing that mantle over to Commissioner Dana. So we had 3 commissioners in-house because Michael Perry, again, was in Washington.
Sure.
And he was being more effective. He was at Department of Ag, I believe, by the time we started our meeting.
Sounds like he's taking care of business.
Yeah, he's really earning his pay for the taxpayers, and so did Commissioner Perry or Commissioner Taylor. I mean, both of them, I think they hit some home runs this week. It appears that that's the case, and so we're waiting to see how that goes. Quickly before we get into the agenda, and I know talked a lot already and haven't even started on the agenda. It seems like the lesser prairie chicken listing might. Well, I know that it's over according to the Fish and Wildlife Service.
Right.
They totally rescinded the listing of the lesser prairie chicken. They divided into a northern and a southern distinct population
So
segment.
we're finally
and
done with talking about chickens?
Well, we're close. up on the northern part, there was a court case, and they said you cannot do that. And they ripped them and did everything. In the meantime, while that was happening, they were backing off, says, you know what, all the data that we have in place isn't legitimate. This isn't right. We're going to have to back off of this. But they didn't want to vacate the listing entirely. And our lawyers stuck up and said, no, we want total vacatur.
Yeah, we want to be done with this.
And that way, if they come back with it, they've got to start over. They've got to produce all new studies and everything to assure that it's right.
Yeah.
And so they agreed to that. So now they're removing the listing and vacating it. However, our lawyers still want to proceed and go to court because they don't want it to be vacated based on just this factor.
Well, I'm
they
wondering
want to
if-
be sure that they spell out and get it in writing that all these things were what was wrong with this.
And that's what I'm wondering is I don't want them to set the table for, okay, it's dead for now, but another administration comes in and they're going to fire this back up again. That's what we want to end.
And it appears that the dunes, sagebrush, sand dunes, sagebrush, lizard, whatever. I think they've changed the name of it 2 or 3 times, so I can never remember. But the lizard and the chicken seem to have been Endangered Species Act was being weaponized against the oil and gas industry because the science never added up. They wouldn't review any science from any outside third-party entities. They would only use theirs.
It's slanted
and
data.
It was definitely an issue. So anyway, those 2 things are pretty good.
That's a good thing.
Wins that our county governments have been fighting those things
Oh, yeah,
for
these
a
are
long time.
20 plus years of fighting these things.
Well,
Yeah.
in 2014, we sued the federal government. Chaves County was involved in that lawsuit, saying that the lesser prairie chicken should not be a threatened species, and they
Mhm.
won that. There was overwhelming proof that shouldn't even be threatened. And then they did an end run and did some strange things that had never been done before, and ended up listing it as not only threatened but as an endangered
Yeah,
species.
I
And so-
remember the rallies where everyone's grilling chicken and
tastes just like lizard.
Ate well those years.
So anyway, things are looking good, but county representatives, not just Chaves County, but just like you said, all of our counties are working.
Absolutely.
Most of our counties in our area are working well
you have
together
to come as a
and
united
fighting
front.
the same fight.
That's whenever these things come up, they have to come united front because if they come individually, they're going to get their butts handed to them individually.
And the good thing is you get somebody, like say Commissioner Perry was requested to come speak on a couple of different things while he was there.
Mhm.
Or I don't mean speak because he's lobbying, So yeah, there is some speaking, but I mean it's not speeches. by
Sure.
It's
not orations of
making the rounds and making sure people understand the impacts and all that. So we're really fortunate that our elected officials are able to utilize their strengths and be in different places. Commissioner Dana is our New Mexico County's board member. So she represents us on New Mexico issues with New Mexico counties. And that's a different variety of things. It might be them trying to change the work week or the contributions. There's a myriad of things that they're trying to do to workers.
He's
and stuff,
doing a
and
term
she's
that,
involved in that.
Yeah, he's using a term we don't use so much anymore. He's being a statesman.
They're,
You know what I mean? That's, Ben
that's
Franklin,
true.
statesman. This is
Right.
what he's doing. Yes, you're county commissioner, but at the end of the day, you're a representative of people, and you're trying to do the best for not only your people, but other people that are sharing similar
And we're very
needs.
fortunate. Like say, Commissioner Perry and Commissioner Taylor were both in Washington this week.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Dana does her stuff throughout the state and assisting us in those areas. Commissioner Wade is going to be going to South Dakota next week, I believe it is, with the Western Interstate region of National Association of Counties, fighting the battles that all of our Western states have.
Mhm.
And Commissioner Corn, of course, he's new and he's been involved in agriculture his whole life, and he's assisting us in those. We haven't found all the commissions and meetings and stuff that he needs to go to, or be a member of, but it's coming. And we're very fortunate that all of our commissioners are tuned in and doing the stuff. So.
All right, well, let's move on with the agenda, but I got to do one more joke because you said it right there. With a name like Corn, he has no agriculture. Sorry, move on.
Very good.
I did a
Very
marketing
good.
thing.
So our agenda was actually pretty light. We had 2 public hearings. One of them was to accept the Infrastructure Capital Improvement Plan, which we work on every year. It's a 5-year plan, shows all the things that we want to do and the timeline over the next 5 years to improve county infrastructure. And we always have a public hearing because public's welcome. The county employees work together and put this plan together as to what they think the county needs, but we need to do what the public wants.
Sure.
And so we
it's kind
have
of like the city master plan stuff that's been going on all week. County's got to do the same kind of deal.
Right.
Every entity does it.
So we always have an open meeting. So if someone wants to come forward and say, what I'd like to see is this, or what about that? And no one came forward yesterday, but also no one opposed the things that we're trying to do. And currently the county has $18 million worth of improvement projects, from health department to the cultural plaza, renovating a building for
we've got a good list.
4-H, yeah. So they're doing a lot of good things, and that was the public hearing there. We also had a public hearing for an ordinance for a franchise agreement with LECO, Rural Telephone Cooperative.
Okay.
And we have franchise agreements. We've never had one with LECO, strangely, but then again, it's a couple of counties away. But
I was about to say they do mostly Lee County stuff.
Yeah, they're kind of growing, I think, with the attempts to provide good network to everybody.
Absolutely.
There's a big push everywhere to do that, but we've never had a franchise agreement. It's a non-exclusive franchise agreement. Just says we understand you're going to be putting infrastructure and our rights away in those sorts of things. We have them with.
It sounds like they're growing, and we're just setting the table to help them grow into Chaves
They
County.
usually last for 25 years. We've got them with, Otero Electric. We've got them with Central Valley Cooperative. We've got them with XL, SPS. We have a lot of those.
All the major power entities and probably Brendo and all
those kind
of
of
them,
things. Yeah, and we don't make any money off those. That's not what they're designed for. It's more of a mutual understanding of what each side is going to do.
Sure.
And
just making sure everyone's got utilities when they need them in Chaves County.
I kind of hate them because they run for 25 years, and unless you're really on your game, you're going to miss that this one's expiring. I found, over the last several years, I've read down about 6 of those. And it's like, oh my gosh, we just stumbled onto these.
Well,
something.
I think now when we get them, you got to put reminders on phones because back then that technology didn't exist, but now we go all right, put a reminder on the phone. 25 years is up.
We had 2 agreements yesterday. One of them was to award a recommendation and agreement for legal services for Chaves County, and we awarded that to Stanton L. Riggs.
Okay.
He
might have heard of that guy.
He's been the county attorney for many years.
And county manager.
And then he was county manager
during that
attorney
time
for
too.
many years.
Yeah.
And then he retired as county manager, moved off to Albuquerque because his wife, of course, is a federal judge.
Yeah.
But he stayed in the mix, with us. And certainly he has the institutional knowledge. not just about local government law,
Sure.
but specifically about Chaves County local government law and the things that we've
I'm going to say
defended over the years.
Part of deep down, it's still his home, still his place,
Yeah,
and as much as he cared for and did so much while he was here, that doesn't go away because he
Right.
moved 3 hours north.
Right.
So he's continuing to do. I mean, obviously he couldn't be county manager anymore. It's kind of hard to do that from Albuquerque.
distant. Yeah.
But exactly. He's always, and I'm going to take a stab. You probably call him a couple times a week just to bend his ear and talk about things.
At least a couple times a week. At least a couple times a week. No, he's a great resource, and of course we have to go out for requests for proposals, and everyone has an opportunity to turn something in. And Stan was the successful bidder on that.
Awesome.
Let's put it that way.
Congratulations.
And it's interesting because how do you send out a bid to a county? This is what it's going to cost you for legal.
Sure.
And the first time we did it, someone said, "Well, this is what we charge for this type of work. This is what we charge if an associate does. This is what it charges." And we said, "Well, we don't even know how many hours we're going to put in. We don't know what we're agreeing to if we do that."
And that's where maybe Stan had a slight advantage. He knows county business as much as he knows the lawyer business.
He knows county business,
Yeah.
and like say specifically knows Chaves County
Yeah.
business. You're going to spend about this much time.
Yeah, he's
going
to
to
tell you
about this much time.
You're going to need about this many hours a
And
year,
so
or whatever it is. Yeah.
He can provide a firm fixed price where it's kind of difficult for others
Well,
to do that.
He's the most knowledgeable of all aspects of this particular thing, so it makes sense. Yeah.
But to be fair, Stan actually, to be fair to others, I mean, Stan is a fair guy.
Well, he's a lawyer, and
to be
they
fair
live
to
in that
others,
world.
he gives us a breakdown every month of I spent approximately this many hours on this type of work,
Okay.
this many on this type of work.
So he's very
when we do go
transparent.
back to the RFP, we can say we expect that the successful bidder will spend about this much time on this and
Yeah.
about this much time on
So
this.
it gives you
so
a bit
they
of
can
a-
give a better price.
Sure.
And he
He said, "Look,
made
this
it
is-
easier for the others to compete against
Sure.
him.
Well-
But that shows you the quality of guy he is.
But
So-
it also makes you get the right people applying, because people are applying and say, look, this is the job, and look, because of he's done it, he knows almost to the penny what it's going to cost to do this thing. And so, yeah, it makes sense here. And and to be honest, it's nice and he's doing that and all too. But yes, that is the service to the county, because even if you guys decided to go somewhere else, whoever that attorney would be now really has the roadmap to what services you actually need from this attorney.
Right.
But that's good. But either way, it doesn't matter. Stan's the guy, and he'll continue to do it for
and we're very
for
fortunate.
whoever the contract
just
for is
talking
here.
about how great all of our county commissioners are and how they all work together.
Mm-hmm.
We're very fortunate to have Stan as well. I'm certainly not territorial. I mean, a lot of people would say, "Well, he was the manager. You need to walk away." No way. I'm going to use that resource every chance I get.
Well, he's
very fortunate.
At the end of the day, he's a public servant.
Yeah,
and he wants to continue to serve, and he does a great job doing it. And we'd be fools not to tap into that.
Exactly. I don't care where my help comes from. I'm going to get
exactly.
it.
It's about getting the job done and not egos and personalities. And by the way, you and Stan are probably very good friends. So anybody that thinks
Stan's an old guy.
Yeah.
Stan and I were both born September 6, 1962.
Nice.
Stan was born about 12 hours before me.
Ooh. We almost got
not only the younger and better looking one, but I nailed it on both.
This is startling reminiscent of like a John Adams, Thomas Jefferson dying on the same day kind of deal.
Let's hope that we don't have to deal with that for a while. But we're born the same day.
Only difference was you guys are friends, where those two weren't so much during that time.
So the other agreement that we approved was a DWI local grant for fiscal year 2026. And while I'm on the DWI thing, we just had the every 15 minutes thing go off again.
Another amazing year of that.
Amazing. Every year it seems like it's more amazing than the previous year. There are a lot of moving parts with the DWI program, and certainly the every 15 minutes and the after-school programs and all those things. But the treatment programs, the stuff that they do in the jails, there are so many moving parts and pieces to that, and it benefits our community so much. But Santa Fe, once again, is always pulling money back. And so, we have this very robust program. DFA came themselves. Other counties have come. Other states have come to look at the programs that we put on here because they're better than anybody else's. I mean, we've got years and years of of practical experience getting those
Sure.
done and showing the good that it does in our
Yeah.
community. And they're just a textbook case of how these things should work. However, Santa Fe, is always pulling money back, and they use it in the cabinet level rather than sending it out to the field where it goes. The bureaucracy grows, and you still need to put on a great program, but you don't have the funding to do it. Well, over the last several years, we've lost funding, and we've adjusted and tried to find ways to do it. So when we had our budget meeting last week, I asked the commission, I said, we're down $40,000. And then we found out, I think 2 weeks ago, they also cut this local grant by another $10,000. So we're down $50,000. We're asking everybody to still perform the same duties and at the same level, but with less money. And so that's really difficult to do.
Can I ask you a question and this is, I don't know if they're related or not, but I'm just kind of wondering, is also, for folks that don't know right now, is there's about to be a summit later this month where they're trying to decide what to do with the opioid settlement money and where to move in that direction. Is Chaves County DWI in that picture at all? Or
No, we can't. You can use, it's 15% of the monies can be used for mental health stuff. But
I would make the argument everything that...
Well, 85% of the monies have to be used for opioid treatment.
Okay.
I mean, specifically has to be for opioid. Can't be
DWI
for others.
doesn't mean just alcohol is all I'm saying.
The other thing that we should look at is we've got all these cannabis dispensaries. They don't pay into the DWI. How many times have you been at the line at Sonic or walking down the street and a car goes by and you smell pot? First of all, they're driving impaired. But they should be paying into that the same way that alcohol does.
That's what the I part in the DWI. You're intoxicated, whether it's alcohol or drugs. It doesn't matter.
They should be helping fund that. But anyway, the county feels that those programs are so important. And I asked the commission, I said, we're doing the budget. Can we find money to make that program whole? Because we're still asking them to complete all the same duties, but we don't have the money to pay them. And we've adjusted in-house as much as we can to push as much money that way. And
I would make the fight that we need to get the DWI as part of the opioid stuff because it does go together. I don't care what people say.
Well, and the other thing that's coming up with the opioid stuff is state legislature once again decided that we need to have the medical assistance treatment, what's it called, the MAT program in our jails. So by 26, we have to provide medically assisted treatment to people who come to jail. Say, hey, I'm on drugs. Then we have to give them the substitute. I'm an opioid addict.
Well, that's bad, but...
So if I can't score my dope on the street, I'll just get myself arrested. You guys will go give me a synthetic thing.
Get you on the methadone or whatever they're using.
And we have to have additional medical staff to do that. We have to have additional officers to watch them. They have to have isolated cells. How do you cover all this stuff without any additional funds? But that's one of the horrible things that have come out of Santa Fe. And more than likely, most of the opioid settlement money is going to have to go towards supporting those programs. We've estimated $600,000 additional expense a year when we're full blown into that, based on the population at the jail.
And this is kind of the discussion we have, and certainly they're going to be talking about the opioid summit and all this. And this is that thing where it's yes, we're using a deterrent. But here's the other thing too is, I would think if they're going to make them come into jail and we have to give them the methadone or whatever, but shouldn't they also, we're not here handing you pills. Mm-hmm. You got to go through a program. You got to
yes,
check in. They're making that all go down too, right?
There are components to it where there's the program and all that stuff. But I'm just saying that.
Well, the big picture is philosophically is jails are not treatment centers. Treatment centers are not jails. Quit treating them the same. And that's the problem.
And then another level of the problems with that is they've made it easier for people to sue our counties to get into the taxpayers' pockets to settle claims in the legislature in Santa Fe. They made it easier to sue in state court for civil rights violations.
Yeah.
And there's the potential. Every person that goes through there is trying to sue us when they get, you mistreated me. You mistreated me. And if you give someone alternate to opioid and they hurt themselves or die, guess what? we're getting sued.
They're responsible.
And
yeah.
it's your taxpayer dollars that are paying for that.
This is where we got to fix the problem. Like, it's a bigger problem. And
yes, there are so many things, initiatives that come out of Santa Fe that make no sense whatsoever. I mean,
and this is part where it gets back to the opioid stuff, is
right?
Because this is where we got to have and look, we all agree, people that are problems, they can't be all, they shouldn't be on the streets. They should be, locked up, whatever. But when you're dealing with drug addicts and people are dealing with mental health issues, a jail is just not the place for those types of folks to deal with that type of stuff. It's just not built for it. It's not designed to be that way. That is designed to incarcerate people that are not that are a problem with the public. That's what
last week was Corrections Officers Week, and in 1984, President Reagan issued a proclamation, and he recognized back then that they've become the de facto mental health people and everything else in jails because everybody gets thrown in there,
and that's
whether
the problem.
That's the place they need to be or not.
And that's where we got to fix this. And we can semantically argue about dollars here or there, but at the end of the day, we got to do the philosophy that a treatment center is for people that are dealing with mental health issues. A jail is for people that break the law and are basically a danger to public.
And everyone understands there's some overlap in some cases, but certainly not every case that is not a law-breaking case shouldn't be thrown in the jail, but that's where they are.
And this is where we get the problem, where you get repeat offenders and things. If they're addicts and they're stealing and whatever it is, copper or whatever, if they're whatever it is to feed their addiction, that's the one thing. But I'll tell you right now, instead of taking them to jail every time, let's take them to a mental health treatment facility. I'm going to take a stab if it's done right and everything else. The guy's not going to be out stealing copper wire to feed his meth addiction.
Certainly hope so.
You know what I mean? That's what we're trying to.
But continuing to do the same thing and expect a different outcome is stupid.
And let's face it, corrections officers and things, that they're trained to serve, protect, and do things. They're not trained to be doctors. They're not trained to be,
No,
I mean, they are psychiatrists. But
it's a full-time job. Just making sure the safety is in place.
There's jobs
in the meantime,
to keep the peace.
You're doing medical, and that's not your deal. I know we got to cover.
We're running.
We
only got like 2 minutes here, so.
Okay, so we approved the interim budget. $94 million total budget, but of course that includes the carryover for the construction projects, the fire department, apparatus. There's a lot of things rolled in there that are and aren't part of the budget, but $94 million was the total overall budget.
Okay.
The operating budget, I think, came out at 45.
Is that about par for the course? Generally, with cost to run the county each year.
Yeah, a very small increase overall. Our county, we've talked many times about how steady they are at doing that.
Absolutely, yeah.
We did a resolution imposing the non-prohibitive license tax on state liquor licenses, very minor thing. We also did the annual road hearing application disposition. We had 2 new road requests, so they've got 6 months now to bring them up to county standards. We had 1 road vacation. Pretty much a guy owns both sides of the street, and it's just a little road that goes across his property. It made perfect sense to get rid of that.
Make it his driveway now.
Complained about that. And the county picked up a PRA contribution. The county's a great place to work. There was an additional 0.5% that was up for grabs, and the county says, you know what, we're not going to pass that on to our employees. We're going to pay that.
Highly recommend. Go to the county's website if you're looking for work. See all the job openings there. You can really and all come with great benefits and great ways to keep your family, careers for your
We've gotten pretty competitive with hourly wages or salary wages, but it's the benefits. When you add that, we're well above the norm. And
this is stuff you can raise families.
And you're not having to pay your money out for union dues. I mean, we take care of you without having to have additional.
There's a reason every year at the county commission meetings when they honor, length of service, there's always a couple 20, 30 plus year people that have been working at the county. And that's the true testament. Working for the county, generally, people love it. They stay there, and they are there their whole careers. And that you could do all the commercials in the world, but the proof is that in the pudding. If people are staying and working and doing and they're happy, that there's no other better indicator that that's a good place to work.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's 2 sides of that. Happy to work for the county. Happy to work for the county because of the reimbursement, but also happy to work for the county because of the people that are here. It's a great place.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Good deal. Again, that pretty much cover it, at least for now?
We zipped through there. We should have taken notes because that's how we should be doing it on a.
And we got philosophical.
Yes, both. What a deal.
But of course, Yeah, you can always, like if you go to the Chaves County Facebook, you can always go back and watch the videos there of the commission meetings and things like that if you have any questions. And, of course, don't hesitate. If you got questions, you've got a county commissioner representing you. Don't reach out, shoot an email, and share your info.
And you're going to notice we're going to be working on roads. I mean, it's that time of year where they're going to be out doing chip sealing and those kind of road repairs. Currently, we're assisting the city with trying to get ready for the air races, so we're doing our part to help with that.
Scrambling is about.
So there's been some adjustments to our scheduling of road repairs and stuff, but the time we have to do it this time of year, so that you'll see them out.
Good deal. So be safe when you're driving around and be cautious.
Just watch out.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Safe travels, and we'll see you here next time, if not sooner. All right. Thank you. 8:57. Quick break before news. Don't go away. Here next time, if not sooner. All right. Thank you. 8:57. Quick break before news. Don't go away.
Attention Goddard Rocket fans. When you have a history of greatness, the real challenge starts after the finish line. When victory alone isn't enough, raise your bar, keep dreaming, and go beyond the limits that you thought possible. The new 2024 Honda Ridgeline Passport and Pilot, part of the Roswell Honda Rugged Trail Sport lineup. Roswell Honda, proud supporter of all Goddard High School sports.
Are you ready to succeed? Earn your FFA certification through ENMU Roswell's Aviation Maintenance Technology Program. ENMU Roswell has the only FFA Part 147 airframe and power plant school in Southeast New Mexico. Receive commercial and general aviation training, hands-on training with Operation Aircraft, Boeing commercial experience, advanced composite repair training, and more. And ENMU Roswell offers in-state tuition for veterans too. Learn more about this exciting program on campus or online at roswell.enmu.edu. Eastern New Mexico University, Roswell. Success starts here.
Wakefield Oil Company is a name you can rely on with full service at the pump the way it used to be. You can expect service in just 15 seconds. They offer bulk fuel and oil services and even diesel exhaust fluid. Wakefield Oil Company will deliver to farms, ranches, dairies, the oil fields, and more with dependable service you can count on. So the next time you need service or delivery, go with the name that locals have trusted since 1983. Wakefield Oil Company, 311 South Virginia in Roswell. Let them earn your business.
President Trump has grown frustrated with Russian leader Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.